We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Reaching out to the four corners of the globe and broadcasting to you live as we always do from the studios of LA Talk Live in beautiful, sunny Los Angeles, California. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live episode of The Marijualogist, the world's only show that gets to the very root of the medical cannabis movement throughout California and the entire globe. And look at me. I'm live and in living color on camera tonight, and I will be joining you as we join some very special guests live here in the studio tonight. We've got Lee Simpson of King Harvest back live on the mic with us tonight. It's all about medical cannabis education, as we do each and every time, as we explore the social, political, medical, economic, and ecological impact of cannabis on California and the whole world. You know what we do. Joining me as usual, my esteemed colleague, co-host, and co-producer, my best friend, Ecor the Wolf's in the house. But as always, we're going to start our show out, take a little bit of break, play a little something from our good friends at Law Enforcement Action Partnership, as they're now known, formerly known as Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. We've actually got one of their speakers joining us here tonight on our show. So you'll want to be sure to stay tuned. It's the one and only. It's the Marijualogist. It's what we do each and every Friday at 4:20 p.m. The hour is here. Let us now transition. Do not go away, and pay strict attention to the message from Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, which we are about to play next. You'll enjoy it. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Real News Network. I'm Paul Jay in Baltimore. A recent poll by the Pew Research Center shows that 52% of Americans favor the legalization of marijuana. 45% are against. Of course, there's another number which is a little contradictory. More than 70% of Americans think that federal law enforcement money spent on marijuana prohibition is a waste of money. And alongside that, on Monday, the legislature in Maryland passed a fairly modest bill that will allow a certain amount of medical marijuana experimentation at approved research centers. Now joining us to talk about all of this and what's happening nationally is Neil Franklin. He's the Executive Director of Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, or known as LEAP. He's a 33-year police veteran who's led multi-jurisdictional anti-narcotics task forces for the Maryland State Police and training programs for the Baltimore Police Department. Thanks for joining us, Neil.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
So start with the Pew research results. 52 are for it, yet 72% don't want to pay to enforce it. So.
Isn't that interesting? But I'm not surprised at the results. This trend has been moving in this direction for some time now. If you go back just a couple of decades, those numbers were significantly lower. And so the polls are moving in our favor to end the madness of marijuana prohibition.
And you say our favor because LEAP is for the legalization.
Absolutely. We're for ending prohibition, the legalization, regulation, and control of marijuana.
And just for people who don't know, LEAP has a lot of members, but what is it, about 2,500 of the members are either retired law enforcement officers, prosecutors, and such, and some active duty cops as well.
Absolutely.
So some modest measure in Maryland. Let's start with that, and then we'll look nationally at what's been happening.
Sure.
What do you make of the Maryland measure?
It's about time that we've got something passed for medical marijuana here in the state of Maryland. And I like to use the term cannabis because that's the original term for this product, for this leafy matter. It's the term that our founding forefathers used when they were growing cannabis in this country, and actually that's where the term homespun comes from. Just a bit of information there. But I think it's good. I think we're finally moving in the right direction. I hope that it could have been more. There was also a measure, I think it was sponsored by Delegate Kurt Anderson. It had a few co-sponsors for the regulation and control, the legalization of marijuana. I mean, that's what I would ultimately like to see. But if that didn't pass, then I'm very much happy with moving forward with medical marijuana.
Now, part of the opposition to it seemed to be less about whether or not marijuana should be legalized or not, and more about state legislature and the governor not wanting to get into a fight with the feds. And then you might do something, the feds are going to come in, so why don't we just do nothing?
Yeah, I think it's something that needs to be recognized here is that, number one, we just had the legalization of marijuana in Washington State and Colorado. And this administration, the feds, have not taken any action regarding it. And I think there's a good reason for that. They want to give the states the opportunity to see if what they've done, what the citizens have decided to do, if it's going to actually work or not. I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to work because, as a matter of fact, it's already worked. Just the absence of the arrest for hundreds, maybe close to 1,000 or so, people for marijuana possession between those two states is quite significant.
And the feds have not said anything about the fact that they've more or less stopped enforcing pot laws.
Absolutely. Let's use some common sense here. I, for one, cannot envision the federal government going after state employees for following law that the state citizens want. It makes no sense to me.
But hasn't there been federal prosecutions of some of the medical marijuana sites in California?
Yeah, and that hasn't been, that didn't involve government employees. Yes, the federal government was wasting resources going after medical marijuana dispensaries in California and in states like Montana. Makes no sense to me, but it didn't involve federal employees. I think many of those dispensaries may not have been following state law. There might have been a couple that had been following state law, but didn't involve state employees.
So what are the arguments you're hearing against this, in the sense that, California is sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's not so hard to get a prescription. Yeah. Medical marijuana was a step towards legalization, and I guess most people are in favor of that now. But what arguments are you hearing against this?
Well, there's always the argument, what kind of message are we sending to our children? And I ask people to look at the message we currently send regarding tobacco and alcohol. Over the past couple of decades, we've cut tobacco use almost in half. We're not sending anyone to prison. We're not shooting each other in our streets, running gun battles and drive-by shootings. We can send the very same message, actually a better message to our children about the use of marijuana. But more important than the message is the system that is responsible for the violent crime that we have and responsible for more marijuana being made available for our children. Because our current system of prohibition puts many, many, many violent drug dealers on our corners. You know what? And they hire children to sell to children. Our liquor store owners who have that valuable license hanging on the wall, they don't hire children to peddle booze. And we can also control the number of those licenses that are handed out. So knowing that prohibition creates a more dangerous environment for our children, creates more access to marijuana to our children, and marijuana that may not be free of contaminants. Knowing this, how can you support a system of prohibition? I only know one group that really would, and that's the cartel.
So, and I understand the cartel has a lot of interest in keeping
quite a bit
illegal because it certainly changed their business model if it became legal.
Right.
But what are you getting from, for example, from the White House or in Congress? I know you go back and forth. You've been doing lobbying there. Mm-hmm. The majority of people favor it. The logic seems to favor it.
Those numbers that you gave, 52% with, according to Pew, in favor of marijuana legalization, believe it or not, that number's higher in the halls of Congress and the Senate. It's just that they're still not comfortable enough to, or maybe they just don't have the courage. Let me get rid of that word comfort. They don't have the courage to come forward.
What are they afraid of?
They still, unfortunately, they still believe that their constituents won't vote for them the next time around. But that's not true. We're putting people in office who flat out make the case for ending prohibition, and some are getting into office, and it's not just about marijuana. They want to end prohibition for all drugs like we do.
And just to finalize that, but give your picture of what that looks like.
And of course, this is my picture because the organization doesn't have a picture because there's so many variables here and there's so many possible models. But for me, a quick look at marijuana. We already have a policy, we already have a model in place, and that's alcohol. Even though alcohol is far more dangerous than marijuana, even though cigarettes are far more dangerous than marijuana, we can still use the alcohol or tobacco model for marijuana. Let's look at heroin. And I say heroin because Baltimore has been what I consider, that's been their drug of choice here in Baltimore for many, many years. And there's many reasons for that. But in Switzerland, they have heroin maintenance clinics. So what does that mean? It means those who are addicted under a health model can go to a clinic, receive pharmaceutical grade heroin, you know the purity, you know that it's not contaminated with anything that it shouldn't be. The patients get to administer their heroin under medical supervision. They have 0 overdose deaths. No one dies in that environment. And then when they're ready, there's on-demand treatment. And those people who are in the system, you know what? They can work. They can pay taxes. They no longer have to steal, and there's less crime. That's where we can begin.
How much do you think the reluctance of legislatures to pass this at the federal and at the state level is driven by the economics of this, what some people call the prison industrial complex? I mean, the number of people in jail from drugs, you know the numbers and you should tell me, but the number of people in jail because of marijuana and even just simple possession thus is very high.
It remains high.
The jails would not be doing such a rip-roaring business if you get your way.
No, people would tell you that we don't send people to prison anymore for marijuana possession, but that's not true. Well, first of all, we arrest somewhere between 700 and 750,000 people every year across this country just for marijuana possession alone. And that's costing the taxpayers a lot of money. Unfortunately, when this whole business of drug prohibition started, because remember, drugs used to be legal. All of them used to be legal. But when it started, and I'm just going back 4 decades under Richard Nixon, the massive war on drugs, we had about 500,000 people in prison. And today it's about 2.3 million people in prison. And, when it started, the criminals were the ones making money. Unfortunately, today, because we've stayed with this system for so long, everyone's making money. The police are making money. The prison industry is making money. Prison privatization, big dollars. New York Stock Exchange, heavy lobbying going on. Pharmaceutical companies sure doesn't want to see this change. And there's so many other vested interests in keeping things the way they are, the status quo. Too much money being made on both sides of the fence.
Thanks for joining us, Neil.
Thank you, Paul.
And thank you for joining us on the Real News Network. And don't forget, we're in the midst of our spring fundraising campaign. We have a matching grant of $50,000. Every buck you donate, another buck gets added to it. And if we're going to keep doing this, we need your bucks. Again, thanks for joining us on the Real News.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's live episode of The Marijualogist, the world's only show that explores the global impact of cannabis throughout California and, of course, the World Wide Web. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We took off last week, when we were last with you. We were graced to have in our studio a gentleman who really just took us to another level of our information, our knowledge, our insight, things we thought we knew about cannabis. His story alone, if you didn't catch that show a couple of weeks ago, it's been a couple of weeks now, is compelling in and of itself. Just in that it speaks to a new and relevant reality that's taking place throughout America. Part of it touches on the concept of, in the broader scope, addiction. Much of it touches on the more focused perspective of opioid addictions, and again, the whole big pharma foible, I'm going to call it tonight. The big pharma foible. They're fucking it up.
Harmafoible.
Harmafoible. Okay, hashtag harmafoible.
Hashtag harmaceuticals. Hashtag harmafoible.
Harmafoible.
Say that 5 times.
You know I like making up words.
Harmafoible.
No, don't do it. I don't like it. But when we had Lee Simpson here 2 weeks ago, he helped both educate myself and E. Quarter Wolf, my esteemed colleague, our audience. Great response to that show, I got to say. But also, he was so generous in blessing us with some of his products, which is King Harvest. We, shared the blessings and, paid it forward to some of our friends and associates. And to a person, the response has been overwhelming. I will speak for myself, if I may, tonight, before we bring you guys on the mic.
You are you.
I've never quite had any type of ingestible, and that speaks to the entire gamut of any way that you might through your mouth other than through smoke and or vapors, dabs included, whatever. Not using an accelerant, a propellant, fire to ingest your cannabis, meaning like taking it through your mouth, sublingual, eating it, whatever. I've never had anything that gave me such great relief in what I seek as a patient, such great euphoria as what I seek as a friend of cannabis. And then what struck me, intermittently, because I didn't do it every day, is how I felt in the AM. How relaxed, how relieved, how uncongested. I got to tell you, man, I'm an OG from back in the late 60s, smoking all the time and always felt that nothing else got it to me as fast as I needed it then, other than burning it as a plant matter. You've changed my mind, Lee. You've changed my day-to-day. That's important. You really want to think about how important it is.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Let me finish, and you'll see it as one. You got to understand how much a blessing you are. I have a saying I came up with. I make up little sayings of my own, like baking my own biscuits. What's a biscuit? It's a piece of knowledge you can put in your pocket and walk around with, and every now and then when you get a little bit of a sense of the nibbles, or if you're hungry, you could bite on that biscuit. You can stick it right back in your pocket. You don't really care if it's got fur from your pocket, a quarter stuck to it. Just wipe it off, bite that biscuit, takes you through the rest
Kiss
of
up to God.
Yeah.
Get that biscuit.
I made dirt don't hurt.
So I got a little saying I came up with that helps me explain that, but you never really understand how important you are to somebody's life until that person gets to express it to you. Your products have really changed my life. And I don't mean that in like, oh my God way, but just in those little ways that you meet people, you never know what you're doing with them and how that can translate out to such greater things and success. So my little saying I'll share with you is that when you, well, the weed is that good, I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
I'm only kidding. I want to get to you right now, Lee, because you were here a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about your product. I've extolled its benefits. Everyone I've shared it with has done so as well. We'll get to my little bullshit saying in a little bit, but I want to welcome you back to the show. And as always, wait for it. A rousing round of applause for you, brother. And all your generosity, man.
He's back.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Good.
Returning
Glad to
champ,
have
ladies
you
and
back.
gentlemen, all the way out of Orange County.
But
Standing 6 foot.
I'll give him like 6'4".
Standing, no, I was great. Keep going.
right.
Standing, I had to like figure out.
Good
Standing
power
6
forward,
foot 4.
Yeah.
Beard standing 7'8". You know.
Good power forward.
That's
for
that strength.
For our gym team. We should probably see if we can get him to sign up for a contract.
I'm excited to hear about what you had to say about your,
Yeah.
feeling better, and especially the part where you were talking about that you were like, well, I'm the same way. Like, I like to have a glass of wine. I like to even have a couple of drinks, and I've played music over the course of my whole life, and so I would go outside and have a smoke while I'm waiting to play, that kind of thing. And I got used to my partying and my I work hard and play hard, so I got used to my playing hard leaving me a little worse for wear and making me feel a little like hollow or haggard, from the inside out. And the thing is, the way this comes on and the way this metabolizes in your system, it completely, it'll give you the same effects, albeit it's more subtle, as I'm sure you know. But what I liked hearing about was that you were telling me that you didn't have that crunchy feeling in your throat and your chest, and you didn't have the frog in your back of your throat that I have right now. My dad was giving me a ton of shit for clearing my throat every other minute on the radio last time I was here.
Oh, was he?
I'm going to try not to do that.
All right, Dad. He's watching again. He's the cough coach. The clearing your throat. The clearing your throat coach.
Learning how to orate correctly on radio.
Yes, Father.
Doing a fine job as far as I'm concerned.
But that's an important thing
Yeah.
to take note of. It's that there's a hair to split there. If we party and we want to play hard, that's great. There are things out there. There are medicines out there. There are ways to use products that don't leave you the worse for wear, or that kind of protect you from the things that you do from yourself.
That you do already
Yeah.
do. Exactly.
And maybe even repair you from, because you, like so many of us, you've been doing them your whole life.
Right. But wait, ladies and gentlemen, there's more. Joining us tonight as well as one of our returning champions, we have the lovely Bridget.
Hi, everybody.
Brigitte.
Hello, how are you? Hello, love, how are you?
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And you were raising your hand. No need to. It's an open conversation. Welcome back to the show,
I
of
didn't
course.
mean to raise my hand.
I wanted you to get in there and tell us a little bit about...
She was pointing out that it was exactly 4:44.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was doing. Sorry,
really?
it's 4:44.
Oh,
I was
okay. All right, really?
pointing
All
over
right.
your head.
Oh, wow.
What's
Okay.
that significance for
So-
444?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're waiting for our guests to call in. We'll see if they can get in. That might be them calling me on my cell phone, which is
cool.
what they've done, and that is the wrong idea. But that's okay. We'll get to that. Bridget, welcome back to the show. Most
Thank you.
importantly,
Thanks for having us
King
again.
Harvest as well in the studio.
In the building.
And if it's not inappropriate, can we introduce a handsome young gentleman you
Absolutely.
brought with you tonight?
That's handsome Tony over there. Yo, handsome
Hey,
Tony.
pretty
Boy,
Tony, lean
pretty
into the
Tony.
mic,
Lean
all
into the
right.
mic.
Why
Hey,
don't you-
hey.
All
Come
the way
on.
from the old neighborhood.
Yo, go get Tommy the nails.
Now, this is the fabulous Robert
Yeah, lean
Breton.
into your mic a little tighter there, brother.
Yeah, it's me.
There we go. There you go.
This is
Very
Robert Breton. He and I have played music together for many years together, and he's a supremely talented and gentle human being.
Well, thank you very much, Lee. I'm glad to be here.
Welcome to the Marijualogist in LA Talk Live, brother. How you feel about that right about now?
Oh, I'm feeling really, really good about it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I
All
have
right.
Zero complaints.
I'm pretty sure this is not your first radio show.
Oh, many.
Many.
Numerous.
Numerous. But welcome to our internet broadcast show.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Hopefully
saying?
There'll be more.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Hey.
We got King Harvest with us. You know what I mean? They got the open door policy. They welcome him back here anytime. So,
Thank
hey,
you.
you know, we get it in. We get
So
it
was
in.
that your was that the guest?
Yeah, he's going to be calling in momentarily. But I want to get back to King Harvest, and we're going to be talking a lot tonight once we get on the other side of the show about the medical side. I have a friend who may be joining us live in the studio. He is a patient or sufferer, perhaps I should say. I don't even know quite how to talk about these illnesses today that seem to be so prolific nowadays. I remember when I was coming up, people got sick and it was cancer and stuff. But good Lord, there's just so much more of everything. Even cats have feline AIDS, and gee whiz. But my friend...
Dogs have spectrum disorders.
Yeah,
now.
we were running into that.
All that
now.
stuff. My dog did not have any of that stuff, and heck, if he did, we just took him out to a field and left him. But that said, I know that's not the thing to do now.
Well, yeah, 'cause
people were
dogs-
really that cruel, and farm animals and dogs that serviced farms. If you couldn't work anymore, enough of that stuff.
There's different hairs to split. There's different mentalities, and there's a place for all of them. And my grandparents certainly had animals that were property, and if they couldn't feed them, they would, sadly do what they needed to do so they wouldn't starve.
Or
and
put them
suffer.
down.
Yeah.
Would be
But-
the kind way to say it.
For the most part, in the modern world, our animals are our kids, and we are their charge, if you will. We are their stewards, and so it's actually we see human people coming in with all kinds of different problems, symptoms, terrible disorders, and yeah, like cancer and all these terrible things are on the rise. It's absolutely epidemic. But what's interesting is it's the same things happening in dogs, and
that's what I was getting to.
So 1 in 3 dogs has lymphoma nowadays.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about the medical side of cannabis because I know you've done a lot of work with that. In fact, I recently saw a documentary on Weedakit. Shout-outs to Krishna, the producer of Weedakit. It's one of the most enlightening shows that I use as a barometer on what's going on beyond my little bubble as a patient. And he actually did a segment about cannabis with animals, cannabis with children, which I think is very brave because, when you think about kids and cannabis, people lose their freaking minds.
Absolutely. My goodness.
Right, even though they're digging in your stash anyway. But anyway, without further ado, and with much appreciation, I want to welcome to our phone line right now a gentleman that we've been looking forward to talk to for quite some time. His name is Carlis McDerment. He is a speaker from Law Enforcement Action Partnership. We've talked about them since 2009 in their former life as law enforcement against prohibition. They've redefine their purpose and mission in this whole discussion about legalization, prohibition, the drug war. And I like the new name, Law Enforcement Action Partnership,
I like that
because
too.
it really shows where they're coming from and what their commitment or their recommitment is to speaking truth to this whole thing we've been fighting for so many years. So without further ado, I hope I got your name right. I have it spelled as Carlis. Ecor tells me it's Carl. All right, so Carlis McDermott, welcome to the show. I thought we had it correct, yeah.
Glad to be here.
Carlis.
I got to take some time out to give big shouts out to Michaela Hellwich of Law Enforcement Action Partnership, who makes this happen for us on a regular basis. And I know she didn't get your name wrong, and I thought it was Carlis. So welcome, Carlis, to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here with you guys today.
Thank you. We're going to have some fun with this. You've got Lee Simpson joining us here in the studio from King Harvest, Equal to Wolf.
Nice to meet you, brother.
My esteemed colleague and co-host. We got Bridget.
Hello.
And,
Big B.
Very talented.
Got Tony Nels.
Stranger here. Pretty Tony in the house tonight as well, anchoring our panel. However, we'd like to start with talking about your background. What's your experience as someone in law enforcement? Please explain.
Well, in law enforcement, I worked as a deputy sheriff for 11 years. 4 of those years I spent in the county jail doing,
voice.
Jail patrol, so pretty much just working the jail as a corrections officer. Later on, I went on to work in the streets and did 7 years on actual patrol duty. So had a lot of drug interdiction that I did during that time, and eventually I got just tired of it and seen it was just a failure, a complete failure all the way around, even trying to enforce any of these drug laws out here. And it seemed like with the opiate epidemic that we're having here across the United States, especially here in Ohio, what I was dealing with, it was like I had to change. I had to do something different, so I started speaking out on drugs. At that time, I got, the sheriff didn't like it, and he ended up firing me. I think it was about the second officer that worked for, or actually spoke for LEAP, and I was involved with Normal. I think I was about the second person in the United States that actually was fired for speaking out on drugs.
You made the ultimate sacrifice in career-wise, huh?
Yeah, well, eventually, through union arbitration, I got my job back. They finally realized that I have a right to speak out on matters of public concern. All police officers do, and when you're off duty, you have a right to do that. And so I ended up getting my job back. Eventually, I had to quit to move on to take care of my mother. She was sick with dementia at the time, and of course now I'm an active police officer again. So,
really.
Yeah.
You're still out there fighting at the tip of the spear
Fighting that garbage.
of the drug war.
Well, Well, in a limited basis, I'm kind of like a auxiliary officer now. I have another full-time job, but I also work as an auxiliary officer and pretty much help with training and stuff like that. And hopefully try to change, some of the young officers' minds about, drugs and the drug war.
Now, you mentioned, and I've neglected to mention myself, and I apologize for that you're actually in the great state of Ohio.
Right.
Cleveland rocks. All right.
The Ohio State.
Now, I have some information. You guys and your Buckeyes. I don't get it. Anyway, I have some information about the states that have gone legal for medical or recreational purposes. I'm pulling that up now. And anybody here on our panel, once again, Lee, Bridget, our mob connection from the East Coast, pretty Tony down there.
Tony Nelson. Tony Nelson. Yo, he says, do it, Joey.
He's Tony Strings tonight.
Do it, Joey. Tony Strings is here tonight. Thunder Thumbs.
It's Bobby Skins.
It's Bobby Skins. Bobby Skins,
right. Ohio.
Go get the percussionist. No.
The land of the Ohio Players for one of my favorite bands. Lee, I see you chomping at the bit. Yeah. I see you chomping at the bit. You want to lean into that conversation?
I have a question.
Is Ohio legal? Is what I was going to ask.
Ohio now has a medical law for medical marijuana. We're not full legal yet. It's kind of
it was not passed
right
in this
now.
last
They're
election,
trying
I
to get
believe.
everything together so they can. I think next month they're going to start issuing cards to people who have medical recommendations, so they can, at least.
Now I'm looking at the states. If I can get in there real quickly. Ohio in 2016 at least put up for vote House Bill 523, 71-26H and 1815S, something of a maximum of a 90-day supply amount to be determined. Did that not get passed? Did something go wrong in that?
Not in the last election, right?
All right, so Bridget and Lee, you're here.
Bridget.
Yeah.
I do know that it didn't get passed.
Okay, very good.
That's about the extent of what we do know about it,
Right.
I believe. Usually what we see is as legislation switches over state by state, city by city and such, the allowable use or amount of cannabis and the form of it is typically minute or not necessarily relevant to what is going on with the patient. It's more to do with the lobby and the local taxation, et cetera. For instance, it just can vary all over the place, and it doesn't have anything to do with actual patients' needs, et cetera. So,
I have a question for Carlis. This is Ecor. This is Ecor speaking to you. Because you spoke on the fact that you want to be able to speak to the younger officers, or that's coming up, and by them being new officers, I want to ask you a question. When you were a rookie, coming into the force, was it somewhat of a programming that the force had you guys wanting to believe about this war on drugs and to go out there and just get these so-called bad guys or these bad people or whatever? Was it like a programming? Because it seemed like you saw the light and you want to enlighten them now.
It's been programmed ever since 1971 when Nixon kicked off the war on drugs. Yeah, there's a lot of programming that goes on. And, when I started as a deputy, I'm 50 years old now. I was 37 years old. And I was more mature, could think on my own. And my third day on the job, I could see that, this was a joke.
Right. So this is some bug.
It took 3 days. I met my first big drug dealer, and he was nothing but a sick kid on heroin.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is a joke.
He was just supplying his habit. He was just supplying his habit, probably.
Well, he's just trying to keep from getting sick. He
That's
probably
it.
was in terrible circumstances.
That's it.
I would actually like to know what the average climate or temperature or mindset is like of the new inbound cadet or recruit. Are they
Great
more
question.
open-minded? Are they interested? Are they open? Is the information that they're getting from the media, like the new 20-somethings and so on and so forth, is that massive exposure to information, is that creating a more liberal mindset, a more open-minded person, or has there been any effect at all? I'd be really curious to hear that.
Honestly, to answer that, I'd say it's probably like maybe 25% to 75% still believe the old way. We got to bust all these drug guys, and 25% of them are like, yeah, maybe we ought to start paying attention to this. I shook things up a lot and got people really thinking when I did what I did. And But I kept telling these guys, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over. It doesn't work. This is ridiculous. Marijuana is real medicine. There's patients out here that need it. And, I tell everybody, the recreational user, guess what? They reap the benefits of it. And if that's legal, you have marijuana, you're going to have less problems with heroin and all these other drugs.
And is the mindset of that average cadet, that 75%er, are they going to war against drugs?
Oh, yeah, they're all going to war against drugs.
Yeah.
It's their mindset to get out there, and it almost becomes like a game to them after a while. And, with traffic stops and going through people, searching people, going through their cars and stuff like that. And that's what they're programmed to do. You don't dare speak out about the war on drugs because they think this is what we're supposed to do and this is the right thing. Yeah. And there's only a small portion of them. I'd say it's even less than 25% that really realize that this is kind of dumb and stupid, and
I ended up in the Santa Ana courthouse with my beautiful Bridget, not too long ago, facing down a ticket, for something that was just stupid and had everything to do with cannabis pretty much. But the district attorney was, I'm a 45-year-old man, been through quite a bit, and I can speak fairly well. But this kid was he was barely 22, 23 years old, and he had no experience in life, let alone my immediate situation, and he just had, I could see it was a game. He was like a shark without any soul or feelings, just trying to win. And
exactly, that's mindset.
And programming.
There's not a lot left in life that scares me, but that really, really scared me. You know what I mean? I would hope that as police departments are getting more money and they're getting tanks and shit like that, I would hope that freaking mindset would be going
right.
Like where we went to high school, we got Tustin, California, got its first tank.
Wow.
Whoa.
Did it really?
What you have to think about in this too is your small police departments out there that are out to make all the money they can, for their little small towns, villages, or whatever. And they start with the traffic stops, and that leads into the the drug seizures and things like that, and basically searching cars and whatnot.
And the more you spend,
so
the bigger your budget next year,
make
right?
Money. That's what it's all about.
But the more you spend, the bigger your budget next year, right? And then
right.
and then the more the toys, and the more you spend, the more tickets you got to write, and the more people you got to put in jail.
And the more,
so you can get more toys, so you can get more guns.
Exactly. It's just it gets.
So how is that not like a crack addict getting a hookup?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
As I smoke.
And then even now with me, it's always like, well, the ones that know and the the little department I work for and help out, they're always like, shh, be quiet. Don't voice your opinion. Bite your tongue. Mm-hmm. They don't want me to speak out and say what's really on my mind, about this stuff that's kind of kept under wraps.
It's like you're going against the code, huh?
Right.
Wow.
But still trying to educate them in the right way too. But if it doesn't work, if prohibition doesn't work, it doesn't work. You need to stop it and do something else. Mm-hmm. And the smartest thing you can do is legalize, regulate, control, and tax drugs. Mm-hmm. Period.
And watch how much change. Watch how much turnaround in the society. Watch how much stress is relieved. On so many levels, because once you just allow something, then that takes a lot of stress off. And then the added stresses to life, and if you're able to medicate, that takes that off as well. That's like double timing of stress amongst many other stresses out here. But when you keep things at with boundaries, whatever, it keeps people uptight.
Well, let's take a moment out.
But there's an interest in that.
It's a total interest.
Sheriff
McDerment,
interest,
financial interest.
I'd like to ask you if I missed it, if our audience missed it, what drew you to take that, we've said this a million times, leap, and I know Jack Cole didn't come up with that name by accident. I'm sure there was quite a bit of thought between himself, Jack Cole, and Peter Christ, both of whom have been guests on our show in the past. What made you take that leap in your career to
no pun
just
intended.
bridge, just take the leap and say, hey, I'm going to go out there and just tell it like I see it and what makes sense and what doesn't?
it was, for me, it was just the whole thing of right and wrong. Since, like I said, the third day on the job, I met the first drug dealer, and he was just a sick kid. And then I seen how the probation department was just another failure too. It's just keeping people in an ongoing cycle and system. Police officers are supposed to be out here to preserve life, help the community, protect people, and how the people that are in the most trouble are the ones that are doing drugs and in jail. It's not the people that's on the street that you need to be helping. It's the people that are in jail that need to be helped. Okay? And when you keep locking these people up and destroying their lives, I've got a friend of mine. She was on drugs for a while, and she got clean. But now, since she got arrested for a minor shoplifting conviction, she was stealing to get money for her drugs and whatnot. She can't even get a decent job anywhere.
No.
Well, how's that serving her after she's off drugs? How's that helping
Or the
her out
community,
in her
for that
life?
matter. Yeah,
her life
exactly.
is upside down.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I've seen this constantly over and over with 1, 2, 3 thousands of people. It's like you got to do something different. It's just you have to help
There's
people out.
more to say about that
people.
too, because I mean, how much to look at how many driving under the influence citations or people that are getting thrown in jail, right? How much of that is coming up from oxy or pharmaceuticals versus alcohol, and then I bet a negligible percentage of that is coming up from cannabis. I'm sure.
Exactly.
Right.
And not only that,
Well, the worst drug I ever dealt with was alcohol.
Yeah.
That's the one where people you're fighting constantly with people. There's every
Spirits.
night somebody would be getting home to jail.
Yeah.
When I worked the jail, we'd have to
Detoxing.
fight with them, and never once with cannabis. Not one time did I ever pull anybody over who was
They were so chilled out.
driving a car.
they were so chilled out and cool. Like, yo, what's up, officer, man? I'm just trying to get
Isn't
home,
that
man.
there's an
Just wanna
enlightenment?
eat that-
Exactly.
wanna eat that
Everybody-
cake in the
everybody I
Just
ran
hungry.
into
Just hungry,
didn't
man.
want to guess what. They were as nice and as polite as they could be to me.
But
And
you know
that's
what?
No problem.
But you know what, Officer Carlis? At the same time, a lot of these people that are getting incarcerated for marijuana or cannabis, I should say, they're getting thrown. They're like nonviolent people as well, and not only that, they're being thrown into the penal system with like severe violent people. And then they end up being caught up in the system now because you have to protect yourself, especially if you're not a coward and you're a man. You're going to protect yourself. You're going to fight. All
just
that comes in play.
Another form of schooling.
Right, exactly, and all that
Big
comes in
bad,
play. So
ugly
now
school.
there's more money for this inmate because now he's stuck in there now. And who had this only a few years or whatever, now he's got 10 years because he had to stab somebody, and he really wasn't even a violent guy, but he had to protect himself and stab somebody, or be stabbed or killed.
Absolutely.
But the people that are lobbying and making these laws, they're not in that position. They're not in our position of being on that front line, being out there, going to jail. Because I've been incarcerated for marijuana, for cannabis. And it's like, really, really. I had so many people.
Basically, back when I started doing a lot of this stuff and got involved with LEAP and Normal and all this, I was kind of a control and regulation guy. But it's these lobbyists and other people out there now who have actually turned me to a free of the weed guy. I say take the seed and plant it everywhere.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Why not?
Are
It
you-
never hurt anybody before 1937. It was in every medicine, that was made.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For thousands of years, nobody had any problem with marijuana. Kids had,
Are you a
kids like
patient?
Kids. Everybody always brings up children in this. Well, guess what? The children used to go out on the farms and cut the stuff down and never had a problem with it.
Yep.
Have you ever experienced
to
it?
grow cannabis
It
back
used
in
to
the
be
day.
required by law, federal law, to grow cannabis as
Exactly.
for canvas, for hemp cloth, for the Navy, for sales. Up until the internal combustion engine and steam engines, that was mandatory U.S. law. So you are more correct than you could even.
Now, have you ever experienced cannabis, Officer Carlis?
Oh yeah, I've experienced it.
Okay. Now, what was your effect off of it? What was your reaction?
My reaction to cannabis is, when I was a kid in high school, I smoked cannabis in college, and
Okay.
up until about almost in my late 20s, I think was the last time I smoked or used any, and there was never a problem with it. To me, it was like,
So how
what's
did
the
you,
big deal with this?
how did you feel
The
every time
alcohol's
you?
worse.
How did you feel every time you stopped a person and they had marijuana on them? How did you feel, and what did you do?
Well, see, I got to the point that I felt like a hypocrite because, you can't arrest somebody for something I used it in my thoughts.
Exactly. That's why I asked that question.
And so feeling like a hypocrite, then I looked at the guys I'm working with who were going out getting drunk every night,
right?
Or after work. Wait a minute, it's okay for you to do your drug, but these people you're going to take to jail for doing theirs?
Exactly.
It makes no sense.
And officers are drinking like sailors. I mean, going
well,
nuts.
They do.
And I understand why, because you guys see a lot of stuff that the average human and life citizen don't see. You're seeing some stuff, and you're going home, and you have to like harbor all these things, or you probably have nightmares or whatever of all these different deaths and situations you've seen over time as an officer. So
PTSD.
I get it. PTSD every day. You're thrown back in the field every day with PTSD. You're thrown back in the field every day. All these different attitudes of people, and then you want to go home for your work. Your shift is over. Now all of a sudden you got to stop this guy over there who's just smoking some crack. He's not buying it. He's just smoking. He's already acquired it. But now you got to get into this tussle with them. You might get hurt, or they get hurt.
With being a police officer, the thing with being a police officer, it's not normal. It's not a normal job to go to work and put a gun on every day.
No, it's
and
not.
Have to go out and pull your gun on everybody. It's not normal.
That's not normal.
It's not what the average person does.
To get treated like a threat constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. You're a target, and then you've got to constantly worry about, am I doing the right thing? Am I,
Right.
It's a nightmare actually being a cop.
And then where we are now in society, where people really hate the cops, man. Like really hate the cops. Because it's like they're becoming like the biggest legal gang in America.
Because it's easy to dehumanize them, right? And look at it as a big blue wall. And I think that's part of what is so cool about what he's doing here with us.
Absolutely.
Is that he's
No doubt.
humanizing the situation and
No doubt.
and deinstitutionalizing.
I commend you too, Officer Carlis.
Yeah, I commend that very much. I was curious, in your community out there, we see I'm wondering if the conflict is the same, where we see patients quite literally eating medicine orally in essential oil form and getting better, and choosing to break the law or rewrite the law based on miraculous results that are obviously being kept from them by the pharmaceutical lobby. Like, do you guys have the same conflict going on in your community as we do over here? Because it's turning into naturopathic medicine versus pharmaceuticals out here on the West Coast.
Oh yeah,
It's wellness,
it's here. I mean,
harm versus
here in
wellness.
Ohio,
it's turning into a right to life
definitely,
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, just like here in Ohio, I mean, obviously back when I first started this, I discovered Rick Simpson and the RSO oil, the Simpson oil, and started telling people about that. And then I started hearing feedback from the community how it was working, and it works better than the pharmaceuticals. And you see a lot of people now, they're fighting. They don't want the pharmaceuticals. I've got plenty of people that I know that are disabled, that are on opiates, whether it's Percocet, Vicodins, morphine, fentanyl, and they want cannabis.
So in the mind of the average...
in this state are refusing still yet to give people, even after this law has been passed, to give people recommendations for this.
So
doctors still get kickbacks from the pharmaceutical.
In your mind as a police officer, how does that make you feel? Does that make you want to take care of the people that are performing that service in your community, or does that make you want to come after them?
I don't want to come after them. I think, for me, I think they're doing a service by getting people off the opiates and supplying stuff like this to these folks. Yeah, it may be illegal in some circumstances. Now, I mean, here in Ohio right now, people are still having a hard time getting medical recommendations from doctors. And again, the state will not even start issuing medical cards to people until next month, is what I've been told. So, because there's still people out there who are basically functioning kind of illegally to get their medicine.
Well, and that's the state of the union right now.
Right.
Maybe the president.
I think
would
it's that way everywhere.
Why would people need to break the law? To actually.
And they're treating here in Ohio. They're treating cannabis at the state level like it's like opiates.
Uh-huh.
With these new dispensaries opening up, they're going to have a pharmacist in the dispensary.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I mean, it's absolutely asinine.
It's just the machinations of the pharmaceutical industry trying to take ownership of what they tried to patent the day after the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. The federal government came in and patented that same essential oil extractum is what it's literally called, right? That was in the American Journal of Pharmacopoeia up until 1933, 1932, as you mentioned it earlier, right? So that exact medicine is what they went ahead and patented. And now, until they can figure out how to, have that participate in the invisible part of the American economy, i.e., big pharma, petroleum, big steel, that kind of stuff like that. Until the 1%ers are gonna make their cut, like they're not gonna let it out of the bag and
believe it.
Well, and here's another thing that's happening with a lot of these new medical marijuana laws here in Ohio, West Virginia, I think, Pennsylvania. No home grow. They don't want you growing this medicine in your backyard. That's not right either. I tell cannabis is nothing but what? A vegetable. You call it an herb, but really it's been reclassified as a vegetable because of the nutritional content in it. So what's the difference between cannabis and a tomato plant or a potato plant? Nothing. Mm-mm. Everybody should have the right to grow this plant in their backyard. Mm-hmm. And when the state says, no, you can't have any home grow, well, then where does that leave people? They can't do anything. You have no freedom to use and take care of yourself and heal yourself, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I heard you say, if I may jump back into the conversation briefly here, Lee, that, and I've heard a lot of cannabis advocates, patients, proponents talk about their concern about big pharma's involvement with the medical cannabis industry, movement, community, and that they could possibly pose a big threat to, artisan farmers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I dispute that notion based on the idea that, first of all, as a serial entrepreneur, small business are the true cogs that run the American economy.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Let's never lose sight of that. Cannabis is big business.
It's that cog.
Mm-hmm. Billions is a safe and conservative estimate of its impact on our economy. It's really in the trillions.
Mm-hmm. I mean, whether they want to know it or not.
When you look at cannabis and hemp.
Cannabis has always been helpful and beneficial to the society financially.
Hell, man, as I like to say on some pimp talk, cannabis sell when cotton don't.
When cotton don't sell, cannabis sell. Cannabis sell when a prostitute don't sell.
In other words, do you want a good $20 gram, or you want that $19.99 T-shirt at the Gap? Nah, I'm gonna take that gram and go wear my old
relax
tie-dye.
and think and say forget that.
I'm joking, of course. Part of that's I say that in jest, but the bottom line is cannabis is big business, and I don't think, and this is my point and why I brought this up, that big pharma or big business, either of these guys have a real chance of taking this industry from us. I just don't think that big business is like that anymore. Not that they're not as pernicious and avaricious and greedy. Yeah, they're always going to be because they're big business.
Well, they're going to try, though.
They got big
but
bellies.
They have the laws.
They're going to take a good run at it.
So let's talk about that. What would be that run? What does that look like? They have the laws. How does that play out? And please, by all means, Carlis, chime in. But let's start with you, Lee, please. What's that look like?
I mean, that looks
the bad laws, in other words.
Well, the bad laws, I think that comes with the hypocrisy up in the lobby, right? Whether it's the state lobby or the federal lobby. Yeah. To say that the two-party system government set up as it is with the electoral college and everything is working is a freaking joke. Obviously, we could make the whole show about that, but the lobby is nothing more than, it's like advertising. He who can pay for it can get the law written. Exactly. So there's nothing about what's good for the people. There's only the interests of the people that can pay for it. like gun manufacturers, like
Medicine makers.
medicine makers, petroleum, all kinds of, big business, all that stuff. But it really starts with the lobby, and I mean, big business, and this country is just a big business. So you might even need to change the system. I agree with you. They're not going to be able to take it from us.
I just
Corporation
don't
of
think that they're ever going to really be able to have a strong foothold in the market. If that were the case, then small artesian tomatoes, the organic movement would never have sprouted.
Yeah.
Pardon the
You're
pun.
You're right.
We have the power, and I've been, as a black man in America, I've been saying that ever since I saw a black man get elected for the first time. Gee whiz, that was our Nelson Mandela moment.
Right.
Not just for black people, but for all Americans.
People, around the world.
Everybody.
Around the world.
You're going to see a Japanese president. You're going to see a Chinese
Spanish
president.
one. You're going to see a
You're
Mexican
going to see exactly. You're going to see a white president. Oh, I'm sorry, we have one now.
Yeah.
My point being that the power is absolutely, and we have a retired sheriff on the line with us tonight from Law Enforcement Action Partnership. Correct me if I'm wrong. I live in my own little silly little bubble of optimism and think that the power's in my hands.
The power is in your hands. You know why? It's the black market that allowed all this other stuff to happen. The black market's still in control of all this.
You think so?
You got to think about it that way. The power is in the people's hands. They're just allowing these other people to come
Well, that's
in
a
and
good
make
point. I see
big
what you're
business
saying.
out of it.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened in Colorado, as I understand, is
The
big
biggest
business
thugs.
came in, everything homogenized, and the quality went down. And come back in the artisan farmer. That's the boutique crafts person,
Right.
like we do. We make flower only, strain specific, critical illness
Whole
medicines.
molecule.
Whole molecule.
All of those
Solvent
things are
free.
very important.
KingHarvest.org.
Mhm.
Please give us a call. We'll help you answer your questions. But we make medicines that are they're very specialized. They're strain specific for what they're trying to accomplish. If you have seizures or ALS or Parkinson's, you need something very different to someone that has a colorectal cancer or a brain tumor, or somebody who has HIV or Hashimoto's, diabetes. All these things need different kinds of strains, and they're all very treatable with medical cannabis protocols. So if you put big business in there, you're probably going to have a different kind of problem for patients trying to get their medicine, and then it's just going to be in the hands of someone else trying to put a stranglehold on it. And I think, Brady, you said this to me the other day. Like, it's really just human nature. We see people every single day, like that are making medicines, and we see it on the forums, Facebook forums, all the time, making medicines and helping a few people, and then immediately start to tie it together to how to get all the patients and all the people. And they don't realize it. And in their benevolent wellness model, they're really just a little pharmaceutical company trying to take over. Right. So
We the people have the power.
Human nature and the way we get over on each other, cannibalize each other, the way we, maybe it's something as simple as laughing at people that get hurt on TV. It's like what is that like about us that needs to do better on somebody else's back, right? Or needs to cut a corner and try to get a little mess for us. Why is it human nature that, like, for me to get mine, I need to take yours?
Right.
It's easy for me to say because I'm in a situation where I have a productive, effective, safe, and successful company, right? So I've lost touch with reality to some extent.
Right, no doubt.
But I mean,
You have your own bubble too, huh?
I have
You have your
I have
own
my own
bubble.
bubble, and I have to watch it, man.
we do.
Exactly.
Because like the way you all talk to me, like people talk to me every day, and I can become,
Start believing it all.
I can really start believing that my own
Your own
press,
press, yeah.
that I made this and you got better. No, like the reason why our medicines are superior is because we leave it in its natural form so you can get yourself better.
Exactly.
right? There's our intellectual property is cutting a corner against human nature, and we leave it in that flower-only form. That's why we're around still. Otherwise, somebody would have cannibalized us.
Nice.
We're around because people get better, and we want to keep it that way. And so if homogenization, big business comes in, and then if we get crushed, well, in the process of trying to make it safe and effective for everyone, a whole lot of people are going to get, they're not going to get the medicine they need.
Yeah,
And listen to the King of Harvest, ladies and gentlemen.
KingHarvest.org.
right there, yeah.
The King
Live in
of
our studio.
Harvest.
Once again, I want to get back to our esteemed guest tonight. We have retired Sheriff Carlis McDerment, all the way from Ohio, Cleveland Rocks. Got to keep that out there.
The Ohio State.
Law Enforcement Action Partnership, LEAP.cc. Long time friends and supporters of our message here. Again, we started off exploring the global impact of cannabis, and once we were blessed to meet some of the folks from LEAP, it expanded our whole consciousness. It was such a weight lifted off my mind and my consciousness. I think they call us millennials. I don't know what I am. I'm not a baby boomer.
I don't know about none of that. I don't know about none of that. I don't know Generation X, baby boomers. I don't know about none. What does all that mean anyway?
Snatched my dream right from my very grasp. Thank you, Lee. That's very crushing.
I'm sorry. Last time I checked,
prehistoric.
You know how to work, so that precludes you from millennialness.
I'm only kidding.
Prehistoric. He's prehistoric.
But that said, things have changed so dramatically here in the new millennium. I can claim I'm a part of that at least.
No doubt.
And our attitudes have changed. I've talked a lot about this to people in that we need to change the way we reference our notions about cannabis, and don't call it weed, and don't call it pot, and don't call farmers growers. Call them what they are. They're farmers. And that may go a long way towards changing people's attitudes. I think we've done a great job. Getting the gangster out of the culture. And Lee, it can't be said any better than that. Let's get the gangsters out the culture.
No, not get the gangsters. Just take the gangster out the culture.
Let's get the gangsters as well. Let's get the gangsters out the culture.
No, the frontliners. They the ones who made this happen. You know what I mean?
I didn't mean to say get the gangsters out of.
No, I know what he's talking about. Get the gangster out of it.
Get the gangster out of the vibe.
Right. Out the vibe. Right. It's a business. It's business now. It's wellness too as well.
Yeah.
Because you still, if you look at it, it's really like two sides of this particular culture, because you got the flower people like to burn. You also have the medicinal side.
Yeah, there's
the wellness side, recreational and medicinal.
There's
It's both.
Absolutely.
And if I could be so bold, cannabis is so aggressive as a business and market, and so competitive. And I think Officer Carlis would agree with this. It brings out the worst in people. So if we can. Just like any drug culture, right? So if we can take the drug culture, the prison thinking, the institutionalized thug-like thinking out of it, we can get some information and some education into these communities that need it. And I think the larger point is that, cops and criminals can sometimes not be too far apart. In mentality and
exactly.
thinking. Yeah.
One
the jailer and the jailed are both there. One is there by choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they're still doing time with each other.
Yeah, they're still doing time. And so, and I didn't mean to cut you off, officer. I want to hear what you have to say.
That's all right.
If we can agree in all of these cultures what part of our cultures don't serve anybody and get it the hell out, then that would be a really good dialogue for us all to have. And I want to hear what you had to say.
Well, how about taking these drug cartels in Mexico and having them going to legit? Why not have them actually producing quality marijuana from the medicinal patient.
How about doing that in
You know?
Chicago?
How about
How about starting
Michigan, you know?
Damn Mexico.
Exactly.
give
I'm
a
sick of
10-year
it.
moratorium for America and charge them import tax
I
to
thought
save
to
the American
myself
economy.
the other day, I've had this notion
'Cause
that
we got the same amount of stuff.
there are more hamburgers sold than crack, marijuana, heroin, all drugs,
Believe
lump them
it.
in together. Globally, there are more hamburgers sold.
Believe it.
So what if we could convince these drug dealers to get off the corner and sell hamburgers? Yeah, right. People laughed at me.
Federal legalization.
There you go. Now, but hold on. What if we took that violent percentage of drug dealers selling, just starting with cannabis in Chicago, and say, I tell you what, Trump's got a new program. He's put together $1 billion to set you up with a $50,000 grant to set up a real grow center in your community, servicing the needs of your community, since that's where you are.
And tax it
How
at an
wonderful.
unfair
Yeah,
rate.
absolutely.
Exactly, because
Money
you're going to
over
make the
here.
money.
And you know what would happen? Everybody would quit shooting each other because they'd be too busy growing weed.
Right, and eating and relaxing.
Yeah.
Like, man, what was we beefing over? I don't forgot. But look, officer, I want to ask you a question. Since you've been pushing the, and lobbying for this out in Ohio, of course, are you still getting any flack or a lot of flack? Has it minimized itself, or how many new officers are you persuading to see this vision, and how are they coming
I
around?
see it changing. It's changing. It's gradual. It's slow. I mean, obviously, when they go through police officers goes through training academy, the first thing that happens, they gear them towards the war on drugs, and this is what you're supposed to do. But with all the information that's out there, the internet, all the marijuana shows that are on TV right now, it's changing the police officer's point of view. I went to a training here recently and didn't even say anything. There was other people in the class. Hey, what if we legalize drugs like they do over in Amsterdam, Holland, Portugal, and places like that, where they have allotment centers that this opiate problem. And then I spoke up and said, cannabis helps with the opiate problem. And I think it's changing. The mindset's changing because the laws are changing all across the country. People have to look at this in a different way.
You
And
might
with
get
the
more-
younger generation of police officers, you're going to see this changing because obviously the mindset's different of the younger generation compared to old guys like me. So I see it changing, but it's going to be a super slow process because you still got the people who are in control of all these police departments and stuff are still the old school. They still got the old school mentality.
Exactly.
Drugs are bad. We got to,
Drugs are bad.
The sheriff said to me when I had my little feud with our sheriff, he said, we in law enforcement shouldn't be telling people these things to legalize drugs. And I said, yes, we should, because we're supposed to be telling people these things. We're supposed to be the ones out here solving the problem. You got a drug problem on the street.
Who would know better but you?
Exactly.
There's a solution to the problem. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over that doesn't work.
But like you said,
We're held to
there's
a higher standard. Our higher standard is coming up with a solution and solve this problem.
But like Lee
If
said,
somebody steals something from your house, you call the police and you want them to go find your stolen goods or find out who done it. Same thing. That's our solution. How do you fix this problem?
But
It's not. We shouldn't be telling people these things. Yes, we should be, and having a discussion about it.
But like Lee said, there's a vested interest in in that. You know what I mean? And to keep that havoc up, the
Right, because
recidivism.
these police departments make money on it.
Yeah.
The criminal
The
justice
revolving
system is a corrupt justice system.
And
It's a money-making machine. That's what it's about.
Exactly, the revolving
As
door
long
of
as you keep
prison
people
sentences.
enslaved in this thing, that's what's going to happen. Nobody's ever going to have any freedom. Everybody's going to be, the people that are in there are going to be cycled around, and like just what I see, the same thing, it's just a cycle, and they never get out of this system.
I bet more people.
So-
I bet more people would actually probably get off drugs, heavy drugs, if the marijuana was out there flourishing more and more. I guarantee you,
of course.
more
It
people would probably
would
get
never
off of
have
drugs.
been turned to in the first place. I never wanted to get
Well, yeah,
high.
but-
I just needed some help with my feelings.
Right, exactly.
That turned into
And
a
hey,
big,
and
huge
here's
problem.
the main thing.
Yeah.
That we need to take the money that's going into the law enforcement to fight this war on drugs and put it back into mental health. Okay? There's a reason people turn to drugs because
Well,
they have
that goes
mental
back
health
to
issues,
Nixon and Reagan, doesn't
and
it?
they're not being addressed.
That goes right back to Nixon and Reagan, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the homies.
So, decriminalizing obviously would be a really wonderful thing. I can't even imagine the kind of hazing. Like if you were a young cadet, a young recruit, I can't even imagine the kind of hazing and peer pressure that you would be subject to if you were one of those enlightened officers like this gentleman that we're talking to right now.
Right.
The old boy network and the hazing would probably be
Crazy.
vicious at best.
Vicious. Like you said, I was gonna say it earlier. The old boy network. You know, that's what they want to get it back to with this new presidential situation. You know, it's ridiculous. But
Guys,
we got some live performances coming up as well too on the Marijualogist.
Yeah.
You know,
I wanted to take a moment to thank everyone for being here, but Mr. Robert or Bobby Breton. He's not actually a wise guy from the East Coast. He's
Is that right?
he's a fabulous studio drummer in the Los Angeles area.
I thought that was
Nice.
Bobby Money. I thought he brought
Bobby
us up
Money, yo, Bobby Skins
Bobby
in the
Money,
building.
what's
Bobby
up?
Skins,
Whatever you want, all right?
Bobby Skins in the building. You dig? Hey, yo, I play.
Hey, listen, guys, I got to get back and to Sheriff Carlis McDerment, who joined us tonight. I know it's getting late there. I know you've got family, and we don't want to keep you tied up too long on the line. If you'd like to hang around, we can continue the conversation. But if you got to go,
So actually, I'm actually at work tonight. Got to get back to work. So.
there we go. I thought so.
But it's been great, man. I love
Get out there and bust those bad guys now. Get out there and get those bad guys now.
I thought I heard a
Light
siren.
'em up.
I thought I heard a siren in the
Right.
background.
I heard.
Well, first of all,
Don't be yelling at those
wait
kids.
for it. Wait for it.
1 out of 12. 1 out of 12. See the man.
Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I hope you had a good time, and hopefully you'll want to come back and join us on the Skype line again.
Oh, heck yeah.
Keep us posted on what's happening there in Ohio.
And
I'd
if,
be
you,
glad to come back on and keep you informed.
and if you're ever in LA, you're more than welcome to be right here in the studio with us. You know.
Sounds great to me, man. I'd love to be back, so appreciate being on tonight.
Appreciate you being on.
Once again, Sheriff Carlis McDerment,
Great meeting
all
you.
the way
Thank
from
you.
Ohio. I actually put up that he was retired. Obviously, he is not, but maybe from his position as sheriff, I think that was true. Well, we've also got King Lee from King Harvest. Lee Simpson, I'm sorry, from King Harvest.
King Lee.
I call him King
King
Lee. 'Cause
Lee.
I know
That
him
has a
when I
very
see
nice
him.
ring
Yeah.
to it.
King Lee.
Every
King
time I
Lee.
think about this guy, I think King Lee's coming through. We've got the lovely bridge.
They got to carry his beard in. Security got to carry the beard in. King Lee. King Lee got the guitar.
And we got Bobby Money with a bag full of money coming up right after the break. We're gonna
Bobby
take a
Money,
quick
a.k.a.
break.
Bobby Nails, a.k.a. Bobby Skins in the building.
Bobby Skins
With
thanks for
Lady
joining
B
us, man.
on the side.
So we're going to take a quick break, play a little
Absolutely.
bit of a musical interlude, and maybe by that time we can get you guys set up, play a little music
Yeah.
directly
No
live here in
doubt.
the studio.
And have everybody check out kingharvest.org in the meantime.
Yo, let me send a shout
Say it
out to
again.
my man.
Well, wait.
KingHarvest.org. KingHarvest.org.
There's also a group that we recently joined here at LA Talk Live. I want you to plug them as well.
Okay.
Please, right now.
It's Leap. Right?
Well, not Leap, but
Oh, CBD Community of SoCal.
that's
That
what I'm
is.
talking
Oh,
about.
I'm sorry about. Yeah, absolutely. I forgot to mention that. Why don't you go ahead and mention it?
So it's we have a page on Facebook that we'd like you to join. It's called CBD Community of SoCal.
I joined. I like it a lot.
Great.
Right.
There's some good information on there.
It's
Nice.
cost-free, of course, no obligation. You can come in there. You can talk to patients that have had positive experiences. You can ask the questions that you need to ask, and you can get started in your educational process without even having to pick up the phone. So once again, that's CBD Community of SoCal. Please join us.
All right, we'll be putting up some more
No doubt.
information about that on the show. You tuned into tonight's live episode of The Marijualogist with yours truly, Radio Rich, a.k.a. Richard Carr, E-Quarter
Wolf.
You might know him from such shows as First Fridays, The Wolf's Den, 8 p.m. Pacific. Check it out next Friday, right?
Yes, though. Hey, June 2nd. Got
It's
some
going
dope artists
down.
coming in.
Yeah, all right.
You know?
All right, we'll be back.
Let me send a quick shout out to my
by all
man.
means,
Because we got some patients out there in Detroit, Michigan who was texting me and hit me on Facebook and everything. But I want to send a shout out to Mr. Murphy out there.
up,
Mr. Murphy out there in Detroit. Carlos Rogers, who was out here, former NBA player, was out here. I introduced him to Lee the other day.
Yeah,
And,
we had a fun time with
oh,
him.
yeah.
No doubt. Send us out to my friend Bridget out there, as well as who else out? That's about it. You know?
Mike Bond.
Of course, Mike Bond.
And the Bond family.
And the Bond family graduates over there.
The Bond
Tennessee State University.
The Bond boys, all that stuff.
KingHarvest.org, everybody. KingHarvest.org, LATalkLive.com. Yeah, dig. We'll be right back.
We're not done.
We're not done.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Sativa in the day, at night I'm off that OG. I spin a check, make it right back. Ball too hard, I need an ice pack. Yeah, but the game to be sold, nigga, not told. A nigga gotta rock it for the gang so cold. Got them Japanese beans, Brody so blow. Eyes low, let the tie blow. You tell your homegirls you don't, but baby I know for sure. Smoke it up, then the fun go down. How you do when that sun go down and the smoke go around? How it go when your clothes hit the ground? I beat it up like it stole something. You caked up, let me hold something. I blow it out, then we smoke something, and we can keep it on the low. And don't nobody need to know nothing. Now let's smoke. Just 'cause I didn't say that I wanted to smoke, don't mean that I don't want to. Don't mean that I don't want to. Just 'cause I didn't say that I wanted to smoke, don't mean that I don't want to. Don't mean that I don't want to. Let's ride. Here we go, here we go. That California smoke, I got the kind of dope to make a G nigga choke. Couple tokes out of backwood, roll a king size that, 'cause the doty tastes that good. Playboy on the grind, fly chick on my side, blowing that Obama OG out a nigga ride. Presidential down PCH, mandatory haters never want to see me straight. Stay high on the low, sticky icky icky dro. Give a herb a pass like Proposition 64. 5 J's in my case stash. No, you can't hit my smoke if your breath smell like straight ass. Need weed, hit the spot, flavors like soda pop. Always gotta blaze 20 minutes after 4 o'clock. Wanna smoke, girl, you know who to call. And when a nigga wanna stroke, yeah, I know who to call. And that's you. Just 'cause I didn't say that I wanna smoke, don't mean that I don't want to. Don't mean that I don't want to. I know you do.
1, 2, 3, 2.
Just 'cause I didn't say that I wanna smoke, don't mean that I don't want to. Don't mean that I don't want to.
Bad bitch wanna smoke. You say you want a nigga with the business, but you caught up in your feelings, and the nigga wanna keep it on the low. And I just wanna smoke. I just wanna smoke. Come smoke with me.
Now you wanna smoke with a nigga?
Come smoke with me. Come smoke with me. Come smoke with me.
With my eyes closed, I can do this shit with my eyes closed. And when money's involved, I be peeping on the low. Estimation these hoes like, yeah, how you handle loss. Estimation these fuck niggas frontin' like they a boss. No they not. Never ever put some money in the pot. So my girl order shot, she be about to have a party. Sexy man licking his lips to my punani. Plus he wanna put his nose in the booty. He down to ride. And you know I'm from the west side. Check the US map, it's on the left side. I win, all I do is win. I'm real, I never pretend. I feel like Pac when he about a rim. I wonder if they let me drop in all these gems. I wonder how my car look when it's rockin' rims. You know that I've been living on this rocket shit. I could do this shit with my eyes closed. I could do this shit with my eyes closed. I could do this shit with my eyes closed. I could do this shit with my eyes closed. SMH true niggas, SMH true house, 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 SMH true niggas, SMH true house.
Still going to remove from society many of our more annoying citizens permanently. First group, drug addicts. Not all of them don't get nervous. I'm not going to bother first offenders. People deserve a chance to clean up. Everyone will get 12 chances to clean up. 15, that's fine, and that's it. If you can't make it in 15 tries, off you go to Colorado. A perfect place for staying loaded. Each week, all of the illegal drugs confiscated in the United States that the police and DEA don't keep for their own personal use will be airdropped into Colorado. And everyone can stay wasted, wired, stoned, bombed, hammered, smashed, and shit-faced round the clock. This is the real Rocky Mountain High.
Marijuana is something they need to legalize for medical reasons, cause it's helping so many people's lives. It helps me free my mind inside these evil times, trying to adapt when you're trapped behind enemy line. Anyone that smokes will meet me up at Pomona Park, so we can gather up enough for a 10 million Minnesota march. We're gonna have a big ass smoke out on Capitol Hill till they're legalizing 420 and passing our bill. They check my phone, they try to shut me down, they spit my dome, cause over 50% of the population's getting stoned. It's really stupid to make something that's illegal when it's being used by over 75% of the people. Can't get a decent stable job without having to pay some more. Pray to God that my Wizinator didn't break a clog. And now I'm really fucking hating this law. It's not even a big deal why you even breaking my ball. You don't understand why, and you can see it in his eyes. I wouldn't have to worry if weed was legalized. I wouldn't have to worry if weed was legalized. We wouldn't have to worry if weed was legalized. I said we wouldn't have to worry if weed was legalized. We wouldn't have to worry if weed was legalized.
Marijuana affects the memory.
We call this kid the after-school special smoker. He spends all of his allowance on reefer. Thanks, little buddy. Now, in the next room is father, and I'm 40, but I'm still cool smokers token up, trying to figure out a way to bond with his son. Isn't that ironic? Don't you think? Of course, across town, the kid's nana's smoking up, trying to ease her glaucoma.
And it's good for arthritis, too.
Waking up in the morning with a hangover, cause I don't think I ever went one day sober. I wake and bake in the morning like a straight soldier, and blaze doja till my brain's in a straight coma. I treat it like it's a race in the Daytona, and feel like how you feel when you take 8 somas. I smoke a blunt to a roach and I'm still smoking, riding this bitch till the fucking wheels broken. There's no puff, it's just puff pass, cause if I puff, I'm handing you just that. That's how it's been ever since I was 18. I pack up another fresh bow and take green. There's no babysitting it, we baseballing it, cause all that talking does is waste all of it. I break down a bunch of weed and got the swisher, bro. Roll it up, light it up, man, we fit the smoke. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls smoke. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls smoke. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. I hope you ready, cause we smoke like there's no tomorrow. bumping oldies, hot box in a Monte Carlo. I take a hit from the split, say goodbye to sorrow. Blazing cigarros, get high like I'm Jay Navarro. Cause when it comes to smoking weed, I'm a general. You talking about smoking blunts, I smoke 10 of those. And break down a 50 bag of kush in a bowl. I smoke that kush, you only find in high time centerfold. I be smoking on that skunky shit with a kid. You feel like you just got hit by a monkey with a braid. The room's filled up with so much smoke it blows the roof off. Cause I smoke like trains, I smoke like I'm Snoop Dogg. There's no babysitting it, we baseballing it. Cause all that talking does is waste all of it. I break down a bunch of weed and got the swisher, bro. Roll it up, light it up, man, we fix the smoke. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls smoke. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. 1 blunt, 3 blunt, 5 blunt smoke. Hot box in the car, rolling up the window. 6 bowls, 8 bowls, 9 bowls smoke. Hot box in the car, smoking up the endo. Cruising down the street, smoking the blunt. Hot box in the car, got me open and stuck. I lit the cherry up like I turned a flare on and share crime. Smoke it up out of my honey bear bond. I take a hit on the hour every hour for at least an hour. Unleash the power of the green reefer flower. I keep smoking even though there's no getting higher. Firefighters approach us cause they think my shit's on fire. I smoke a couple bags with you with some hash and goo. And smoke like the weekend on a Sunday afternoon. It don't stop 24/7 smoking some dro pot. Cause I smoke just like mechanical robots. There's no babysitting it, we baseballing it. Cause all that talking does is
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to tonight's live episode of The Marijualogist. We're just making some camera adjustments last minute. We've got some impromptu performances taking place. Let me bring those microphones up and let's get a little sound.
Yes, mic check 1 2 1 2. What is this? Viking.
The Friendly Viking.
Friendly Vikings. All right. Yeah, that sounds sweet. You dig? You got the music in the background. I told you this is reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and your viewing pleasure. We are live at LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk. You dig what I'm saying? We have our special guest tonight, King Harvest, in the building, and King Harvest has just transformed into the Vikings, the Friendly
world
Viking.
I see now, it's a world of my own make. The chance I get, I think the road I'll take, straight to the bar where I will fill my leg. Tell Mrs. Henry to roll out another keg. You know those cigarettes, they take their toll. I ain't had one in a week, so pack another bowl. I gotta have something, so I will say my prayers to my sweet Jesus, though he tells me to beware. And all the things we held so close, they fade and be replaced. And all the things we held so dear, they're all according to taste. And all the spirits came to life when Jesse cracked the bottle. It's just another version of what's already will.
Yes, you are now listening to the Friendly Vikings, straight out of King Harvest music. Yes, they are just transformed from the King Harvest medicinal specialists to the Friendly Vikings. You are now listening to them live on LA Talk Live, the Marijualogist.
I guess I missed my ticket back to Heaven's Gate. I hope they come back soon now, before it's too late. One seat is left wide open for you to take. Please take my ticket and I will see you very soon. One seat is left wide open for you to take. Please take my ticket and I will see you very soon. All the things we held so close will fade and be replaced. And all the things we held so dear, they're all according to taste. All the spirits came to life when Jesse cracked the bottle. It's just another version of what's already real. All the spirits came to life when Jesse cracked the bottle. Another version of what's already real.
Yeah, wait for it, wait for it. There we go, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Give it up for the Friendly Vikings, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed, one more time.
Give it up for the Friendly Vikings. Straight out of the King Harvest Music Group. That's straight out of the King Harvest Music Selection Music Group. You know what I mean? The Friendly Vikings, you dig?
We do a lot of things together. We play music, we make medicine.
You see? Many talents, baby.
We build everything we do from scratch and everything we make. So whether it's the website or the music or the medicine or anything and everything, we built it from scratch. So we're pretty proud of that.
No doubt. That's awesome.
The music of King Harvest, I'm Lee Simpson, but Bobby and I have been playing together forever.
Bobby Nails. Bobby Skins.
Not Bobby Nails.
Bobby Skins.
He's playing guitar with me right now, but he's actually one of the one of the most amazing drummers you'll ever see. So check him out at bobbybretton.com. He's a dear friend, but
how do you spell Breton?
Breton. So
Breton. Bobby Breton.
Bobby Breton. Breton. Breton.
There you go.
And he sounds just like that on his voicemail.
Bobby Breton. It's the French in him. That's the French in him.
But check that out. He's a wonderfully talented studio musician locally, and we play together all the time under the Friendly Viking or one of our names. But if you love King Harvest and you're in the spirit of healing and you want to listen to some good music that's not trying to sell you something or try to get over on you, you just want to hear some good music, check out thefriendlyviking.com. It's happy healing and music. That's what it's all about.
All right, so I want to take a moment out because we always have a musical moment here where we feature cannabis-infused music. And, we feature such artists as Anita Blunt, and a little earlier during that musical segue, we had the music of Bambino Brown. Anita Blunt with her 2011 version of Smoke You Up, and Bambino Brown, Smoke With Me, V. Rich, some of her music, Big Blizz with Legalize. This, too, is obviously a different genre of cannabis-infused music. Because I feel the infusion, first of all, from the King Harvest element of what you do. And also, I can imagine you're probably sitting around making some of this great music when you're
medicated,
feeling the good vibes of your medication. Would that be fairly accurate?
Would that be accurate to say?
That's the whole idea, man.
That's the whole
We're just doing what our parents taught us.
Yeah.
Grandparents.
Let's get to another song. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Nice.
One door open, another one closed. Don't you dare tread lightly, don't you play it close. There is no reason, there's no way I can find. I'll just love you forever, and that's just fine. La da, la da da da, la da da da, da da, da da da, ba ba da da, da da, la da da, ba ba da da, da da, la da da, la da da. So long may you wander, long may you roam, may you dream on forever, like that storm in your soul. There's only so many days, there's only so many nights. Sing with you, darling, any old time. La da, la da da da, la da da da, da da, la da da, ba ba da da, ba da, ba da da, ba ba da da, ba da, da da da, da da da.
I was debating whether I should give y'all the cheesy pre-recorded applause, but I just got to give that applause up to you guys, man. Incredible, good stuff, dude. Yeah, that's real studio applause. That takes us, Lee, to a very special moment tonight. We're going to go on beyond the next...
You mean the Grateful Dead's playing next
hour.
week?
Well,
special moment?
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, come on, man. Spoiler alert. But, you know, we're coming up on a break, but I want to talk a little bit about a special event that we've got coming up, and you're going to be sponsoring for veterans. Can we take a moment out to talk about that? And I think I've got the right banner up to represent it. Take a moment and lean into that mic a bit more, please.
So...
oh, baby.
King Harvest will run programs and do giveaways to try to affect change and or help in certain communities that, you know, every community deserves all the help it can get, and none are any more deserving than our country's veterans.
Right.
And so what we seek to do is to give away medicine, a bottle of medicine, to the first 100 veterans that come through our doors, through the radio station and through LA Talk Live, through eCore and through Richard. And so, you know, anybody that comes through these guys, comes through this station, comes through this show, comes through their network or group of friends, we will be happy to donate a bottle of medicine, you know, after a consultation, and we'll figure out what's hurting you, what's ailing you, and all that kind of stuff like that. You know, it's not about glaucoma and getting high. You know, it's
right.
Or you know,
so important that you point that out.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get everybody high
Right,
and like
yeah.
trying to give everybody some swag or, you know, like a goodie bag. If you have something that's curiously wrong with you and that isn't been able to be addressed, diabetes or, you know, things that you don't usually talk about with people because they're uncomfortable.
I'm glad you mentioned the curiously wrong because I'm aging, as we all are. I have curious new discoveries in the morning when I wake up.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that aches. What part of the body even is that?
Is that a muscle?
Or
it wasn't before.
Is it deeper? Is that an organ?
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking about. I'm worried about my organs now.
Yeah.
My muscles, that's about the best I'm going to give you. But my organs are the better part of me, and they're inside. Those are the ones I'm most concerned about. And I mentioned earlier, lightly and seriously, and I'll say it again in all sincerity, man, how great your product makes me feel. And I've noticed also that I can take it one day, and then the next day I expect to have these weird little situations when I wake up in the morning as I age.
Mhm.
And I realize, wow, I feel good again.
Mhm. Right.
And I, you know, when you live in a temple long enough, you kind of figure out what works and
Mhm.
what doesn't. Why isn't the stove working? And
Mhm.
the gas is broke, or the water's not getting hot. Let me go check out the hot water heater. Well, the human body's the same type of temple. So I've noticed that even a day later, when I'm not feeling those weird little symptoms
Mhm.
of just, you know, seniority, old age, I want to say senility, perhaps even. What the hell? I'm only kidding. But from day to day, even 2 days will go by, 3 days will go by, and I'll think to myself, oh, that's right. It doesn't really flush out your system overnight.
Mm-mm.
It's cannabis. It's connected to your cannabinoid receptors in
And
your
it'll
body.
it'll keep you kind of set for maybe 72 hours.
Yeah, man. I'm feeling it
So
right
check
now.
it out. So, Rich.
Yeah, get down.
So, Lee, my question is as well is because I was in Detroit recently, and my auntie just had a stroke, and right, so she came out of it. She's back. She back driving. She's driving everything, so she was okay. They got that tumor and removed it, you know. But so she's on these pharmaceuticals, and I told her that she could take this CBD, pure CBD, without it even interfering with what she's taking.
Mhm.
And I said that eventually, when you start going back to the hospital, and they start seeing these results and seeing how whatever they're looking for is going to be depleted, they're going to think it's their shit, and they know it's not. I mean, they know good and well that it couldn't possibly be that. I said we're going to wean you off of that,
Mhm.
and you'll just be sitting, stuck with this right here,
Mhm.
and just take this. So I just want to make sure that. It won't interfere with anything that they're taking, as far as the pharmaceuticals is concerned, which I've already said that to them, but I just want to make sure the audience knows this as well.
Cannabinoids don't contraindicate with any Western pharmaceuticals.
That's right.
Mhm.
They behave the way they knock down inflammation in your system, Richard. It's one important reason. It's
Thank you for pointing that out, because that is really.
Yeah, it's all these things as we age are related to inflammation, and in fact, most illness of all kinds on all platforms is if you look at it objectively, it's related to inflammation too, and inflammation leads, in cancer's case, to errant cell mutation, and then you get a tumor, right? If inflammation can lead to neurological impairment, and you can end up with a seizure disorder. Or, you can end up as aches and pains and the natural oxidative process of aging, which causes natural death, right? That's what we die. So CBD is the most, arguably, right, the most powerful anti-inflammatory on the planet. Okay, so no, CBD won't contraindicate with any Western pharmaceuticals. It behaves like a natural prednisone. Okay. So it kind of has a steroidal quality. It keeps people. It works a lot like prednisone, where it'll keep people in remission, keep them younger longer, and that's really the idea. Because, prednisone might work for 3 months or something, and it then once it stops working, everything goes completely haywire, right? Cannabis oils. We see people on cannabis oils in cancer and neurological situations where they're 8 or 10 years in, and the natural prednisone's still working. Cannabis oil was still holding them in remission and such. So, it is good for your auntie to take CBD, absolutely, because it will keep her endocannabinoid system stimulated.
Right.
If she had a tumor still,
because she was a
you would want to make sure there's some THC in there.
She was an aneurysm survivor, first of all.
Okay.
So. You said she because she never smoked before, marijuana, cannabis or whatever. So I gave her this, pure CBD, and just told her that, just do the 5 drops 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night, and that should, keep you going.
And that's a good place to start, And
but she's gonna need the THC pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's the that would be the The synergy or the restore? Not the restore, but the restore.
It would be the
unwind. The unwind. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Restore. Right. It would be restore. So I figured.
Lee,
Go ahead.
if I could jump in real quick, because that just made me kind of anxious to ask this question. I recently reconnected with a friend who has been through a series of severe illnesses related to leukemia, and I might have mentioned this to you offline earlier today. Can you speak briefly about how the body's cannabinoid system or some of your products from King Harvest might work to help folks in that situation?
Sure.
And remind people about the whole molecule benefit of King Harvest products.
So King Harvest makes whole molecule essential oil critical illness cannabis oil medications. They're 90-day long protocols typically. And what we want to do...
And by that you mean 90-day long, please, for our new tuners tonight.
Yeah, 90 days long, 3 months long.
Meaning that they'll last that long?
That you're supposed to take cannabis oil medicines for a period of 90 days.
Thanks for that clarification.
Sorry about that.
And then what? Stop.
No.
You're gonna
effect,
we're
Oh,
gonna expect an effect.
If you go to the gym and start working out,
right, within 3 weeks, 3 months, right.
You got to give yourself 3 months,
exactly.
So, in the case of leukemia, lymphoma, right, that kind of stuff, cannabis oils are particularly treatable. In the case, in many of those cases, there's not a centralized tumor. Not in every case, but in many of those cases, there's not a centralized tumor. Cancer is a molecular condition. It's the mutation, the cellular manufacturing of mutated cells. If you make too many of those, it turns into a cancer or a tumor.
A monster, right.
A monster. So CBD in combination with THC in whole molecule form, right? Whole molecule THC and CBD, and whole molecule doesn't mean whole plant extract. That just means they juice the whole plant. Whole molecule is very specific to our company, but whole molecule medicine retains all 33 of the chemicals in the cannabinoid molecule, which allows for the stimulation of the endocannabinoid system. Once you stimulate the endocannabinoid system, it'll give the patient back its ability to make perfect cells, and that's the underlying cause of the cancer.
Nice.
Because what our body does to keep us alive until the day we die, its basic function beyond the breathing, the blinking, the blood flowing, is it reproduces cells.
Yeah. As long as you're breathing and eating, and not even eating, as long as you're breathing, you're still making cells.
Well, frankly, you could almost stop breathing and your body will keep producing cells up until the time it becomes deoxygenated through the process of suffocation.
Yeah.
Your body produces cells because that's just what it do.
And I mean, you could take that a step farther. Yeah. You'll still grow hair and nails when you're dead.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah. We are
machetes
a cellular organism.
Machetes down there.
Yeah.
Wolverines.
We are a cellular organism, a self-reproductive cellular organism.
So what a cancer patient might expect is to feel better within 72 hours, to start having feelings of getting better within 7 to 10 days for their metastases or their mutated cell replication to cease after 30 days. Days 30 through 60, 75, system-wide inflammation knocks down, and you start to see the shrinking or the actual elimination of the tumor.
Some of my
man,
social networks.
This with my wife was had
some of my social networks. Some of our social networks are blowing up. I've got several questions. One of them is
fire away.
The question comes up as to whether cannabis has been tested with any efficacy as it relates to telomeres and telomere growth, if you know anything about that. That is the long life genome. So maybe we'll look into that as well.
There is a suggestion of evidence that through the prevention of the oxidative process and inflammation, that CBD can keep you younger longer. There does seem to be a fountain of youth process in there and on the other side of it. If you take huge amounts of the medicine, you start getting younger. And so
Benjamin Button.
Yeah, exactly.
Who called my name?
You're funny, man.
Wait. Let me get my camera back up. Who called my name? I swear I'm getting younger.
But yeah, it's crazy. You start.
Maybe I'm just getting more childish.
There's a couple of components to getting younger. There's being younger physiologically, and there's feeling younger, right? So, CBD helps you with the plasticity or the the youth in your body physically, and THC helps you with the youth in your mind and your spirit, right?
That's the euphoric. That is the psychoactive property that I really think is so effective.
Cannabinoids are responsible for a lot of things, but one of them things they're responsible for is forgetting, the ability to forget. If you worked in a office building in downtown New York City and you were making your way to the subway, right, after work, you'd pass 15,000 people. And this isn't a guess. This is literally what cannabis does in your body. It is responsible for your ability to forget. Otherwise, you'd remember every one of their faces and you'd want to hang yourself by the time you get home.
You know, I've often said...
natural production of cannabinoids is your natural ability to relax.
Lee, you know, I've often said that one of the benefits of cannabis is the ability to forget, not just that your brain is a supercomputer that super processes all of the five senses, and if you got a sixth one, whoa, you're really in trouble because now you're hearing voices. But beyond that part alone, sometimes if you just get angry about one particular flashpoint in a day, part of the release of coming home, and even if you got to burn it in as a flower rolled up in a fake brown piece of paper called a blunt, if that's your thing, why not? And I don't knock it. We're doing it now.
It's my thing.
But the fact is, it does give you that psychoactive property to beyond forget. That's one part, but move on. The mind never forgets. It's like a hard drive. You know, a physical hard drive in a computer. You never erase the data. You just reposition its address on the disk.
Yeah, and you kind of, if I could use the analogy of putting everything in shoe boxes, it just, and then filing it all away in different ways. Like it allows you to
filing system all together.
It allows you to pull up what you need when you need to and work on it as you can, and then kind of move on.
My point was that I think the forgetful properties sometimes are very beneficial to me. If I had a rough morning, by the afternoon, and some of your great tinctures, it's like, what were we arguing about?
But then one of the reasons why
moved on.
Yeah, exactly.
On the other side of it all.
That's our day. Like, I mean, we when you ingest the medicines in this form, in this infused in the way that they are in the whole molecule form, it takes an hour for them to process through the liver. They're more gentle and they last for 6 or 8 hours rather than, if you have an emotional emergency, absolutely, hit the vape. That's what it's there for. But if you want long-lasting good vibes and energy and, good feelings to work through your day with, like the Uplift was a really good choice for you. If you want to sleep a whole 8-hour night and feel restored and feel improved, not just knocked out, then the Unwind it's what's up. Part of what is working is that the people ask us what the byproduct of the medicines are all the time, and it's that you feel good, but the literal medical byproduct is that it's breaking down your body's aging process. It's putting you back into being a little younger in a way each day rather than aging. It's putting you on a progenerative cycle rather than a degenerative
cycle.
Yeah.
We have another question, and this pushes us on to the topic of the night, and that is about the giveaway that we are launching officially tonight. Let's talk about the dates. I know we've talked about this informally, but I'd like to make it official tonight. Starts tonight, runs all the way up through July 4th. Is that correct?
Correct.
We just want to find 100 veterans who are willing to consider, let me get the banner up, hold on one sec, who are willing to consider or who perhaps have already become patients to take a look at King Harvest tinctures and find a prescription for you. You won't just go buy it and you're stuck at home with it all alone. You have people and a website that you can reference to help you understand your dosage level, which is very important with this because it is real medicine. There is no overdosing. You know what I thought about, man, as a test? I actually thought to myself, and Bridge, you're going to love this. I said, what if I knocked back a whole bottle of this?
It'd make for the greatest movie day ever.
So I got past about 6 drops, but throughout a 24-hour period, and heavenly.
Man.
In a nutshell, I searched for words. Exquisite, never overwhelming, never heavy. Okay, I could keep going on, but that said, let's talk now about why veterans, why 100 bottles for 100 vets, and let's speak to some of their needs and why this is so effective.
Inability to forget, as you were mentioning, rigidity.
How valuable is that for a vet?
Physical pain, homicidality, suicidality, depression. It goes on and on and on and on. The veterans are a unique and a special part of the population for a couple of different reasons. Of course, it's easy to, they've served our country and have done what we all need to be done to provide the good life that we all get to have. That's inarguable. But they're also a population of people that once their symptoms are relieved, more than any other population out there, other than pediatric epilepsy maybe, like they're really given their whole life back. So if you, not only is a typical veteran somebody who's hardworking and really like coming to you for the right reasons, so that's a good place for us to start. There's not a lot of med seeking going on. You have generally have a bunch of real good people in really shitty circumstances that if you give them these medicines, in many cases, most cases, like they'll get all the way better. PTSD isn't something you're born with, and so if you can fix it, you give somebody their whole life back. So, I mean, the selfish self-interest of fixing 100 people, like
it's not that selfish.
It's totally benevolent. But it's also
and totally doable.
And totally doable because
it works. In a bottle.
It's a mutually beneficial situation, and we want to show off our lightning in a bottle.
And it tastes good, man. And it tastes it's just so buttery and like just smooth and just like caramely and just, I enjoy it.
It's so foreign to people that they could actually feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you.
Like they won't even admit that they feel
my
bad.
buddy, I gave some to my buddy, right?
I don't mean.
I gave some drops to my buddy, and he's like, I was like, how did you feel last night? He said, I don't even really know what I was supposed to feel like,
Mm-hmm.
I said, because you was high and didn't even realize it. Because you was in another state.
All of us having a built-in endocannabinoid system, it takes some time to actually refine those receptors. I've got to say that.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never used cannabis in any form whatsoever, first time, I'm going to walk you through it slowly. I'm actually going to turn you down repeatedly before you even get involved with it, because, are you sure? And the kind of cannabis that I am familiar with can be a little heavy on New Jack. So all that said,
the New Jack's coming out in the game right now with some of the best of the best. When we came out with seeds and got to tilt the damn bag.
That's not necessarily true. We could dispute that, but my point was that
and threw them seeds away.
When it comes to the tincture aspect of it and how gentle that can be delivered, it's funny that when you guys you said something like it's almost so unfamiliar but it makes you feel good or something like that. And I said this to Ecor. It reminded me of the days when I was a little kid. My mom used to give me castor oil or cod liver oil. Now, when she said, "Boy, come over here and give you some cod liver oil, you make your bowels move," I really didn't understand what she meant.
Take your bitters.
I thought cod liver oil was all one word. my mom from the South, so cod liver oil. It took me years to understand she was saying cod liver's oil. And how that can be beneficial, or castor oil. I don't know whether she meant castor oil or castor oil, whether she was trying to poison me, but I'm still here to say that it would. But my point was, when I take that, it actually is so very warm and familiar to me because it was the days when your mom would give you a little castor oil to help you lubricate your innards. Or cod liver oil to help you lubricate your innards. It doesn't have any flavor really. Doesn't have this harsh, overwhelming cannabis. Oh, it
Not at
tastes
all.
like I'm, eating
tastes
the
very
root of the
smooth.
plant. Like I just pulled it out of the ground. I just started chewing on it like a carrot.
It tastes
very
good
smooth.
for you,
It's
and it's
very
and it's sort of
soothing and
intangible.
comforting, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You don't mind doing your drops.
Yeah.
You don't
Okay.
Okay.
Drop time.
I told my people. I said, listen, your worst side effect is you're gonna eat. You're just gonna eat. How about that?
There's
gonna
a-
make
there-
you have an appetite.
I can be high and still feel like crap.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
doubt.
what if you can be just? We're talking about feeling like you were younger. Feeling like good, like you used to.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get high.
Right.
And then it'll be twice as good.
Well, I can tell you right now, young
Whole
fella.
molecule medicines address something different on the I'm going to get high and get fucked up spectrum.
Right,
You know,
right.
It
so
actually,
I can not feel bad anymore.
yeah, it actually it stops the need to toxify and pollute yourself, right? Because you're able to make yourself feel better like you used to. And so
Mhm.
you're not compelled to, I'm not as compelled to turn to my wine and my whatever
Jack.
else I might, whatever
Wow.
else I might do.
Little Jack.
Or whiskey or whatever.
Little Ciroc. Partying with, P. Diddy. Those days are over. I get it.
No,
As a rock and roller, those days are over.
But no, they're not. But
I'm
and so
okay.
if it's time to have a night like that, these medicines will help protect.
They're
me from
remedial
that.
as well. I think that's
Yeah.
important to point out. I think that's what I was saying earlier about my experience with it, and certainly Ecor and I have shared it with other individuals. I know he's got some testimony he wants to share.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, can you also
All the way on the East Coast.
Can you also take what's in this bottle? Because I had somebody ask me out of Texas said, because when I sent them a picture of the bottle, and then they said, okay, I could take that and put it inside of my vape pen, that oil inside of my vape pen. I said, I don't think so. I said, let me ask them. I don't think so.
So it's similar, but
Wrong viscosity, in other words, basically.
I mean, you can. It's just not. It's the easiest way to say is it's the wrong viscosity.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So look, but still, thanks, Ecor, because I gotta be honest with you, it's so damn good. And thank you for some recent blessings in the flowers. I said, I wonder if I could drop it a little bit on the flower.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one must keep in mind, this is cannabis suspended in an oil base.
It's like
product. You
really,
don't, yeah.
So smoking that Vecco is like heavy. It's like heavy hash.
It's gonna knock your head back.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's like.
Be careful.
That's like.
Don't do it. In other words.
Well,
Let's
no.
make that clear.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying don't do it. I just.
Oh, you got
it's
some
not what
stoners out there.
That's just not what it's intended for.
You got some stoners out there that's like, put it
it's
on
not,
there.
It's not. I mean, the people that I've spent 10 years figuring out wellness medicines with cannabis oils. People have spent 10 years with dabs. Like, if you need that level of narcotic relief, like dabbing is there for you.
Dabbing is there for you. 89, 90% THC level when they get it to.
And so I guess another, are you going to ask, is this, maybe a more healthful form of that kind of ingestion? And to that we would direct towards whole molecule vape rather than.
Exactly. And most importantly, because I think you would agree, and we've talked about this quite often on the show, in inhaling any burnt plant matter at all is deleterious to one's ecosystem. It's like when we burn the forests. The lungs of the globe have to breathe it and cough it back out, and sometimes it does. And cannabis is good for as an expectorant in its own way. But that said, burning cannabis and that being your only way of enjoying this plant and exploring its incredible features and facets, wow, you're missing out on so much.
Right.
I've learned that recently, especially here in a New York minute, as we say back east, with you, because of your generosity and the things that I've had at my avail and the circumstances that made those options more viable and sensible without, embarrassing myself by my moment my need to medicate at that particular hour, and I got to walk back in the room smelling like Bob Marley, rest in peace.
Right.
And then the actual effect and the fact that it lasts so well. I actually am a waker and baker, and by 2 o'clock, if I'm on a downer, the uplift right there.
And if you do the math, it actually becomes quite cost effective compared to
Yes.
Yep.
Smoking a half a gram of flower every 2 to 3 hours.
How about that?
Even as far as people going out there getting their prescribed medicines, I'm telling them, like, look, you're going out there and paying like $400 or $500 for your prescriptions, when this bottle right here is only costing X amount of dollars.
Exactly.
And I'm sitting there like, and you buying medicine like Revenidum and Flametadil, all these different names of shit that you don't even know if it's really the medicine, that if it's a placebo or not.
The side effects are more
Clomatital,
complicated than the
you know what I'm
names.
saying? They just take this, just take it. It's gonna be okay. Now you've really healing yourself.
If we just simply say, try something that has no side effects before you try things that do, there is a basic logic to that.
May
right?
cause honking in your nose. You be walking around like,
and sadly, and this goes back to just the communities themselves and education and maybe the family, but even if people know that cannabis oils are better for them and they can probably get them better, they'll just because of the money and the insurance company picking up the pharmaceutical check, that whole rigged game right there, like people will choose to stick with Western medicine, even though they know it's a worse option for them, just so they can tell their families they're doing something. So it's really interesting. It's astonishing, actually.
Are you pessimistic or optimistic? I just got a question.
Eternal optimism.
Where do you see the business, the industry, the community, the game? I don't know what you call it these days. You kids with all your fancy names.
No side effects.
Where's it headed next? Is it good, bad, up, down, invest? No?
I think it's only good.
Bull bear?
I think the more that the big money and government mess with it, it's only going to cause more calamity, and it'll always just end up back in the hands of the people. It's something that's too pervasive. It's like saying blood, belongs to the government.
Everybody got blood.
Like, okay.
Man, please, I got my own blood.
or cuz. No. Get it?
Like, it's like, it's just too pervasive. It's too important to all of us. It's been what the old generation has seen us do, even though we're not the new generation anymore, but what the old generation has seen us do with it has turned their opinion. My parents are probably listening right now.
No doubt. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. I just want to say this.
They can't agree with each other, maybe, but they can agree that.
Honey, where's my weed?
No, they can. All of our parents and family, like, even though they have different ethical and emotional conflict with it, they all agree that they're proud of us for what we're doing in this new burgeoning world. So,
right. Man,
and we just seek to live up to that. We're out there on some kind of an edge. We're out there on the edge, and we're trying to work with patients one-on-one to get the information so we can answer questions like the questions you're being asked on your switchboard. So, what do I take? What do I do? Western medicine has me here. What do I do now? All hope is lost. What do I do? Do I do a drug trial? Should I try chemo? Is this survivable? All these things, you come to find that Western medicine is really, 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 really not only ill-equipped to answer those questions on a meaningful level, but they're not interested.
Not at all.
No.
It's the best that they have a vested interest in something else, and in the harming you more, by tricking you, band-aiding you. But I want to say this about your logo. This particular logo that's on the screen, everybody can see.
Glad you brought that
It
up.
reminds me of like a Disney movie getting ready to come on. It's like so animated and it's like pops out, Because I wore the hat all the way. I get a lot of like conversations about my hat, But I wore you guys' hat on the airplane. I wore it all the way to Detroit. I only had a hat. I wore it all the way to Detroit, and I'm on the airplane and. It struck up so many conversations, and people just looking with the smiles, and then when they walked past me with the smiles, I was like, yep. saying stuff like that, and then they look back behind and start smiling because I know they was 420 friendly, you know. So it stood out, man. So people in Detroit right now definitely have the product. People want the product, and I've got people in Texas want. I got people quite a few places want this product, man. So.
Well, what we do is we seek to
heal
help
people.
We seek to help and educate. Obviously, if you're in Texas, Texas is a frightening country of its own, with all kinds of laws. And the legality of cannabis is changing out there. But what we do is if you call us here at King Harvest, kingharvest.org, 877-469-4584. If you call us and you have questions and if you want to know, we will tell you. Mm-hmm. And we will not charge you. I saw there are now a couple of organizations, in the world that do what we do. There's 2 or 3 of them. Although there aren't any groups that make medicine to the quality that we do. And we can argue about that online later on Facebook, everybody. But there are... when you call, there's a certain ethical... See, when somebody's looking for cannabis oil and looking for naturopathic treatment, looking for information, they're looking in their community person to person. They're not looking to call AT&T and sit on hold for customer service. Mm-hmm. They're not looking to call up their doctor and leave a message and hear back in 2 weeks.
Right.
Right? They're looking for someone to talk to about some very immediate need that they have. We find it to be vital and essential and a requirement to give people our time to help them as a matter of ethical responsibility. To charge people for the time on the front end of that, to create an obligation to call. The reason I bring this up is I've noticed that several of the competing cannabis oil groups are starting to charge just for consultation intake calls.
Oh, wow.
And like I was saying earlier, like I'm in my own little bubble and I'm watching some of my my peers start to behave like, doctors and pharmaceutical companies. And so cannabis oils medicines are really difficult, if not impossible, to manufacture on a large scale with any efficacy. Mm-hmm. You need somebody to talk to you, to find out what you need, and to make your medicine. It's important that your medicine, because it's whole molecule, like green juice, like farm-style orange juice, it's important that medicine did not sit in a warehouse for 6 months or didn't have uncontrolled conditions. Cannabis oils are photosensitive. They need to be stored in the dark, all kinds of things. So it's important that somebody that knows what they're doing tells you what you need and helps you obtain it. Whether you are in Texas and you need to find out if, the funky backyard cannabis oil that your buddy down the street made you is any good, it's still important that you can call us and ask.
I'm backyard scientist.
It is still important that you can call us and ask.
Hey, take this backyard boogie. It's going to be all right. I'm a backyard scientist.
Well, let's not glaze over the notion of how complicated the process is to extract, whole molecule from a plant in and of itself. My mother used to cook collard greens at least 3 to 4 times a year. I don't know how much you know about collard greens.
I've had them 3 or 4 times in my whole life.
There you go. Wow. We used to get them 3 or 4 times a year.
Get them a lot.
Let me tell you something. Just to boil down, and I say that in jest because she did. She's a country girl. God bless you, Edna.
I ate greens a million times a year.
To boil those harsh, thick stalk weeds down to a edible and then later digestible plant matter was difficult. Okay, so I could tell you, probably 75% of my audience don't know nothing about cooking no collard greens. Now you a backyard scientist and you're trying to cook down the virtual medicinal and psychoactive properties from a plant as complex as cannabis. And I don't mean you. I'm talking about these backyard fools.
Boogies. Everybody starts somewhere,
right.
man. I was in my own backyard at some point.
And so it really, that's cool. And now you're not. And the reason being is because of your investment in the technology and the research. R&D is where people are going to make or break themselves in this industry. I just stand strong in my little bubble about, no, they're not going to take it over. No, there's always going to be little niches for everybody. Yes, we are going to be those little cogs of this ginormously new big machine, you know, and the way it operates, but there's always going to be, you know, an Entenmann's on the shelf of Ralph.
Exactly.
Right next to Hostess. And,
Advil and Excedrin.
Yeah, there's always going to be a Krispy Kreme that thrives in Los Angeles, but not so much in Detroit. Ain't nobody knowing nothing about. Dunkin' Donuts got Philly on lock.
Detroit on lock. Detroit on lock.
You know what I'm saying? The East Coast on lock.
On lock. Dunkin' Donuts. You ain't coming there
so
with
Krispy Kreme, what?
No
what,
Winchell's.
son? Get that up my. It's like the drug
Yum
game,
Yum
probably.
Donuts.
I'm only kidding. My point being that, and that's an important factor about the cannabis industry as a commerce, as an industry, that you can look at the various markets and what that market will bear for the price of your quality product. Because I got to tell you, man, outside of LA, I'm sure your product should be double or triple its cost, depending on the distance from distribution.
This brings up
somebody got to truck it.
This brings up one of Bridget's points that is telling people daily. Like, ethics preclude us from letting the market price set our product prices.
I feel you.
You know, like, just because our medicines look just like all the crap you can get from any dispensary. They really probably do.
I don't think so.
And
pal.
they look like it, but that's.
When's
the
last time you've been to a dispensary?
I always tell people that. I always say, well,
I got to tell you,
when's the last time you've been to a dispensary?
Oh, it's like 3 months.
No, that's my point.
I always ask people. I say,
I'm out of touch, man.
I always tell people. I say, you have to make sure you know who's making your product. You know. Just because it says this, you got to make sure you know what it is. Like, people are like, we got the hemp. I'm like, is that really where you get it from Whole Foods? You know.
So our point being, at least
watered down pap.
My point, and what Ecor and I have found, because we run through all these collectives, particularly Ecor these days, because of his interaction on the community advocacy, we know what's in those collectives, and we know what's not there, and no, there is not this quality of packaging that you guys are doing. There isn't this connectivity to the end user where they can actually say, wow, you know, I took 4 drops. Because, you know, Americans always figure more is better. No, dummy, slow down. So there's a place where people can call and find out about dosage. It's this whole wraparound piece. And wait, there's more. Plus you have the vape line. Plus you have hats. Stylish, you know, gear that endears the patient, in my case, and the consumer
logo,
in a recreational sense.
That logo is slapping.
If you're joining the Army, you want a uniform, right?
That's right.
The logo is slapping, man.
If you're signing up, if you're joining, if we're saying, like, join the movement, join the Army, you know what I'm saying? Like, so everyone needs a uniform, everyone needs a hat.
Believe it.
So I know
King
there's
Harvest,
a couple
Green
more
Crosses.
comments. Yeah, there you go. Hold on. Let me get mine up
This
there.
show is sponsored by, this moment is sponsored by greencrosses.org. You dig?
In conjunction with?
KingHarvest.org.
And BobbyBretton.com.
And BobbyBretton.com.
All right,
FriendlyViking.com.
There's other comments. I want to remind people about this this kickoff that starts tonight, starts this weekend. It's running from Memorial Day to July 4th. Our focus is to connect veterans out there with the alternative that you offer through King Harvest Tinctures. One more time, can you give out the details on how people can connect with that project?
Sure. If they wanted to go ahead and contact us directly at kingharvest.org, that's www.kingharvest.org. The phone number is 877-469-4584. Again, that's 877-469-4584. We're going to give away 100 bottles of medicine to the first veterans coming through, not just the first 100 veterans, but the first 100 veterans coming through this radio station.
Very good. Thank
you. So anybody who calls King Harvest will ask, we always need to know where you came from as a matter of California state law. So it's very easy to determine where people, originate from. And the first 100 veterans patients will receive a free bottle of their choice after going through a cost-free, no-obligation intake, which basically determines what you need.
And perhaps if we could, and we can talk about this offline when we wrap out the show, maybe using the promo code America Talk Live.
Sure.
Right,
That's
America
great.
Talk Live. Hashtag America Talk Live, at America Talk Live. Maybe put some of that stuff out there. We'll get that structured because we still have a couple days before the weekend rolls in, and Memorial Day is the official launch of it. But if you're listening to us tonight, just go to kingharvest.org.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I got a lot of veterans.
Reach out.
They're going to come up here, you know.
Just send them on through the switchboard. We'll give everybody their own spot of time, and
so that means
listen to everybody.
To sketch out some of the details and the variety of products that you're offering, you'll give them a free evaluation just by talking to them. Or if you want to stop by, they'll give you details on how to drive by if you're in the neighborhood. And that'll also, so it's not just one particular
private screen
tincture. You're talking about the entire full spectrum.
What is bothering you, and
here,
we will determine what is going to best serve you, and can compound that for you.
Exactly.
So, and I mean, that's part of the whole issue is that nobody can speak to what helps, how much to take, what you need, that kind of thing.
It is a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, and it's a case-by-case basis. Dispensaries are designed to sell products like 7-Eleven, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that you don't go to 7-Eleven to find out how to fix your Crohn's disease, or you don't.
Or your homie down at the mechanic shop.
I have tried CVS. I did walk up to the pharmacy and say I got a toothache, and the dude behind the pharmacy looked at me like I was a complete asshole.
He said,
and said, "Yeah, there's an aisle over there for painkillers." I'm like,
going over there,
wow,
aisle 8.
I felt so stupid. Don't be stupid. Don't be like me.
He said, "Go to aisle 8, man."
I was in I wonder what Big Pharma's going to do when it starts to realize that how much of a bite this is taking out of its apple. I went into a CVS or a Walgreens the other day, and I don't know, one of the two of them stopped selling cigarettes.
Yeah, CVS. Yeah.
CVS. So this was like the CVS that time forgot. Like the only thing
they
left
still
in
have
that
some
CVS.
American Spirits.
Did they?
No, I'm asking you.
I do, but they like there was nothing but the pharmacy in there and everything else that was for sale in there. You could tell that business was going the way of the dodo. The whole chain, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe so. They suck anyway in terms of customer service. You can stand in line forever.
What, CVS?
Just to buy a single item. But big up CVS. You want to advertise, we can change the image right here on LA Talk Live, the Marijualogist. kingharvest.org for more information about the 100 bottle giveaway for veterans and beyond. This is not just a giveaway of some little vial of a little tester. This is real prescriptive level analysis, evaluation. It's not like you're going to a doctor. You're already at the doctor by the time you're in this side of the business of cannabis. If you're looking for tinctures, you're probably already getting what the doctor's got to give you.
And you're terrified.
Yeah, and now you want to think about some of these other things you're hearing about, you're reading about, you're seeing on TV. The knowledge is out there. It's just so absolutely ridiculous that we're still having this question about accessibility alone.
Yeah.
Do you understand that the whole thing with cannabis is strictly about accessibility?
That's right.
Duh. Like, where is it not? It's, I'll smoke my T-shirt if it's in.
Man, I watched the video the other day.
I bet you people will start smoking. If you banned all cannabis, people who bought hemp T-shirts would not just smoke it, they'd probably bury portions of it to hope that it's. I
think it's gonna grow.
So I want to get to these guys.
I watched the video. I watched the video the other day
of
these nuns. There was some Mexican nuns, and they were growing. They were growing their own pot. Then they were making it into tinctures and everything. Then they bottled it and everything. They were smoking. They were smoking. You know, these are nuns at a monastery. I was like,
they
wow.
had hemp pork. Hemp pork chops,
hemp beef,
hemp chitlins,
hemp spare ribs,
hemp helmets, hempcrete. They was
That's
doing
right.
it all. All right, so let's get back to the Lost Vikings.
Friendly Vikings.
The Friendly
The
Vikings.
Friendly Vikings.
You Vikings are everywhere, dude.
Vikings.
Y'all been like 5 different
Friendly
names
Vikings.
tonight.
You got the
I don't know
Friendly
if that's you
Vikings.
guys or if it's the host for tonight.
You got the Friendly
But,
Vikings.
our Friendly Vikings.
Featuring Bobby Skins.
I'm only kidding. Let's give out the name one more time and how people can
Ladies and gentlemen.
avail themselves of your sounds and music, please.
What was that? One more time?
FriendlyViking.com.
So we are we're kingharvest.org. All the music that we play, because we're lifelong musicians, Bobby and I, together, we play it under the Friendly Viking, or friendlyviking.com. And just come and check it out there. It's all getting fleshed out and figured out, but just go check out the friendlyviking.com.
I love the website, man. I love the name. Can you take us out, gentlemen? First of all, I want to give you a little round of applause for joining us here tonight, man, and blessing us here on the Marijualogist. The mic's all yours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, this is called Negative Space. Just beyond her's that famous strip where you can go and get your soul sold. Today, man, I'm glad I've not sold mine. I'm already way too cold. Just beyond her, now the camera paints these LA streets right down Sunset Boulevard. Today it's best that things are moving slow, more familiar than familiar, one by one in open roads. So crow flies circling the dream I'll trace. In the city of angels I am a negative space. Baby, she thumbs through this big, huge magazine. LA's gotta have the biggest damn magazines I've seen. She tried to catch me and I ended upside down, bleeding soul over everything, and amplifiers loud. So crow flies circling this dream I'll trace. I am the people caught between. So crow flies, my sleepy girl born of grace. The city of angels, I am a negative space. In the city of angels, I am a negative space. In the city of angels, I am a negative space.
All right, so let's get one more song happening before we load out tonight.
What you got?
Are you guys willing to give us one more?
Of course.
All right.
Then we can give them that We Are One.
There we go.
After that. Friendly Vikings, ladies and gentlemen. The King Harvest Music Group.
Holy Father, come back for me. Take form. Holy Word, come right through me. Take form. Take form. All my relations, won't you hear me please? Take form. Take form. You're the bird rising from the east. So take form. Take form. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da da da. New friend, won't you come to me? Take form. New family, gather for me, please. Take form. Take form. Come to me. Take form. Take form. Love's victory is what we need to take form. To take form. La da 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 da.
Thank you for tuning into LA Talk Live and the Talk Live Broadcast Network, original reality radio, handcrafted for your listening and viewing pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk. Stay tuned.